Here, we'll prod it. You are looking live outside of Jack Couch Ballpark here in beautiful Kitchener, Ontario. Welcome to Panthers TV on a Thursday night. Mark Pare alongside Justin Holmes. Glad to have you aboard as the Welland Jackfish are in town to take on your Kitchener Panthers. And Justin, when you look at these two teams, for the Kitchener Panthers, first of all, coming off that home-and-home sweep against the Guelph Royals, and you know, there's something that you really kind of noticed in those two games where it's something that we haven't really noticed as much in these Kitchener Panthers to start the season.
Yeah, it's felt like every game, either the pitching's been there or the batting's been there. They haven't really been able to put both together at once until these last two games. It was a 9-4 win, 4-0 win, and it felt like everything was really clicking for them, the pitching, the batting. If they can continue to ride that momentum into a huge game against the first-place Welland Jackfish, then I think they have the recipe for success, Mark.
Well, speaking of recipe, it seems like the Welland Jackfish have quite the recipe going for them. Again, a team that has just been, full marks every single time they have been out all season long. It's a team that is 10-1 to start this season, and you know, just the one loss against the London Majors a couple of games ago. They're on a 3-game winning streak, but for them, they've played Tuesday and Wednesday, and they have shown up and shown out in both of those two games. A 10-4 win over Guelph on Tuesday, and then 15-4 a drubbing against the Hamilton Cardinals. Who's going to stop these guys?
Yeah, we're talking about recipes they've been cooking. It's been unbelievable. 7-0 on the road this season. They're averaging over 10 runs per game over their last 3 games, allowing just over 2. It seems like they're inevitable. They're played unbelievable, and it's been throughout the entire lineup. They have been clicking on every single player, really. Their pitching staff's been brilliant. They have the best ERA in the league. Their whip is just over 1. It's really, you can't find a weakness with this team, so maybe Kitchener can find a little crack, maybe figure something out. Can they get to this first place team? Maybe they're a little too confident, who knows, but we can see if today's going to be a huge test for Kitchener. Can you hang and separate yourself from the pack? Sitting at 500, a test like this is really what you want. This is a really, really good ball club making an appearance here at Jack Couch today, so I'm really excited to see what the Panthers can do against them.
The one thing I've really liked about this Welland Jackfish team, too, as the season has gone along, you know, you have that loss against London on June 7th last Saturday, and I found that in that game there was that one inning that really kind of made the difference. And in that inning, you know, it was a lot of hard contact. Home runs wasn't really the name of the game for the London Majors. You know, a couple of singles here, a couple of singles there, and just, you know, moving the chains, if you will, to take a football term, and just getting guys around, crossing home plate. But for the Welland Jackfish, noticeably from what I've seen in a couple of their games in particular, is that a lot of these teams, they've been hanging around until Welland really just said, you know what, it's time to lower the boom. That's it. That's all. You look at that game against Hamilton, 7 of those 15 runs came in that 8th inning. So for the most part, it was relatively close by IBL standards, mind you. But you know, once Welland finds that one inning where they're really starting to get things rolling, they really get it rolling.
Yeah, and we've seen that a couple times here in Kitchener. It's such a hitter-friendly park. You have to be careful in a team like this that they can get rolling, and all of a sudden they're turning over the lineup and just hitting the ball around. So you want to be really careful against these guys. You don't want to let them. You don't want to make any mistakes yourself. You're really going to have to limit errors. You're going to have to limit walking guys, getting guys on base in that kind of way. Make them hit the ball. They're gonna. We've seen it all season long, right? But you want to make them earn it. Don't give them anything. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Kitchener today. This is a very dangerous lineup. There's no working around guys to get to somebody else because they're very, very deep. They have a lot of depth to this team. So you have to just go out. You know you have good stuff. Try to just beat them.
And it's a mix of veterans and guys that are around this team for the first time. I mean, Jonah Weisner was here last year. Robert Mullen, who was just named Player of the Month in the IBL, was around last year too. Jake Sanford, Brandon Hoope, Grayson Barrett getting the job done. And remember, this is a rematch of the first-round series between these two teams where Kitchener won Game 1 in extra innings, and then Welland, again, as Welland does, turned it around and said, you know what, we're just going to take the bull by the horns and put 15 on you, put 16 on you, and get the job done. But it's a new season here. 2025 is underway and well underway, mind you. We're about a quarter of the way through the season already. For the Kitchener Panthers, you talk about a mix of new and old. A lot of their players, coming into the lineup, relative newcomers to this league, but guys that are getting the job done, and look no further than the top three in their lineup who have been getting it done consistently.
Yeah, they've been getting hits consistently. Fuji has came out of nowhere to be one of the best leadoff hitters in the entire game. The power that he's been bringing has really impressed me. So we'll have to see if he can continue to bring that today. He had so many homers just last week, and then he didn't have one in the game. You're thinking, oh, maybe it's a down game for him, which is amazing when you have a player that's hitting that well. When they don't go a yard, you're like, oh, what's happening? So, yeah, they've really been getting it from a lot of different guys. We got a chance to speak with Trent Lawson, another guy that's really been bringing it all season long, a little bit farther down in the lineup, but they've been brilliant all season long. And that's, I think, we talked about, it's just that the bats and the pitching have to come together at once. I think we've seen that in these last two games, so let's see if they can continue that and carry it into this one.
You take a look on offense. Kitchener hitting .279 on the year. They're a top 4 team in that category. Same thing when it comes to the run and runs against. 67 runs in, 64 runs against. The home runs have been there. At the beginning of the year, at the very least, they were within top 2, top 3. Fell down to 5th in terms of home runs, but still 16 home runs in the first 10 or so games. Nothing to sneeze at, to say the very least.
Yeah, they've certainly had some pop. It helps when you play at Jack Couch, and you know that when the wind's blowing out, you're going to have a lot of chances to hit long balls, and that's what some of these guys have been doing, just getting the ball in the air, and you're seeing that wind take it out. So that's something that I think they're going to continue to try to do throughout this season. You've had some power bats that have really surprised us, and it's been great to see.
All right, we're going to throw now to that interview with Trent Lawson. The anthems will be right after that, and then we'll have first pitch on the other side of the break. Stay with us. Here is our interview now with Kitchener Panthers left fielder Trent Lawson.
I'm Justin Ohms with Panthers TV, joined by Trent Lawson. Thank you very much. Ahead of a big game against the Welland Jackfish. You're 10 games into the season, 500 on the year. What have you liked so far from this squad?
We've been playing some 500 ball, which is pretty good. I feel like that we have more in the tank. And it's good that we're 500 through 10 games. We can definitely do a lot more.
And you've been coming up big. Batting average on the year is excellent. What have you liked from your swing?
It's repeatable. That's what I like about it.
And you're going up against the first place Welland Jackfish tonight. It's going to be a big test for you guys. What do you need to go out there and do today to pull off a W?
Just gotta play D, keep and start swinging the bat and swing the bats.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And we will be right back after the break.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up. I got the
Hard-line drive up the middle. Whoa! Lindor out of nowhere. How did he do that?
That Lindor can play. I don't know about that hair. And don't get me started on those gloves.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
It's time for a revolution. The Ref 1X by Rollins.
It is time for some baseball on this Thursday night. Glad you can join us, the Kitchener Panthers and the Welland Jackfish. Mark Pare, Justin Holmes here with you as we get a quick look at the umpires for tonight's game. It'll be home plate umpire Steve Cochran. He's calling the balls and strikes. Matt Neely is at first base, and James Deacon is working at third. And we'll look at the 1 through 9 for the Jackfish in just a moment, as they were going to be taking on Andy Vargas.
I'm excited to see what he's got today. This is a huge test for Vargas. He could be the Panthers' ace. It's looked like it so far in this season. So let's see what he can do against this first-place Jackfish team that has been hitting pitchers oh so well all season long. He has really great stuff. So I'm excited to see, going up against such a strong team in Welland, what he can bring. It's going to be a really good test.
Now for Vargas coming into tonight's game, he has been, as advertised, he's making his 5th start of the season here tonight. 22 innings pitched, a 6.95 ERA. A little bit higher than you'd like to see it at, but, had a bit of a rough outing last time in Hamilton last Friday night on June 6th. Went 7 innings in that one, struck out 5, but gave up 12 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned. It gets better over time, but they're going to be counting on him to have a bit of a better start here tonight.
Yeah, you know that he has the stuff. It's just about putting it all together. So this will be, like I said, a really great test for him. He's got the second most strikeouts on the team and second most innings pitched. So we've definitely got to see a lot of him so far, and he has that great stuff, the great swing and miss stuff, which is really huge. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. And now, it's never an easy task for a pitcher to have to pitch here at Jack Couch.
No, it is not. Here comes Vargas on Jonah Weisner, and ball 1. We are underway. That's a strike, rather. We are underway at 7:34. Vargas gets the sign. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Weisner working shortstop tonight, hitting .346 on the year. In fact, when you look at their players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys hitting at least 300 on the season.
Yeah, there's certainly no working around anybody. You're just going to have to face them. All extremely good hitters. They put the ball in play. They put it out of play. They put it over the fence in the outfield. So we'll have to see what they do today.
Vargas will get set. Was the opening day starter for this team. The 1-2. Upstairs, evens the count at 2-2.
And it's a beautiful night here at Jack Couch. The wind just slightly blowing out to right field, nothing crazy, which is really good in terms of long balls. We've seen some howling wind here in the past couple games.
The 2-2 pitch put up high. Playable in center field. Penalve is going to get underneath it and record the out. Let's take a look at 1 through 9 for those Welland Jackfish here tonight.
Second baseman, number 20.
Jonah Weisner, you saw, as the shortstop, and Brandon Luther is going to be coming up here. Mateo Porcelato out and right. Robert Mullen is the catcher. He's the cleanup batter. Jake Sanford at third base. Brandon Hoope at center. Grayson Barrett in first. Sam Cocker's the DH. And Tyson Gom out in left field.
It's a very, very dangerous lineup, like we've been saying. There's so many guys that are hitting over 300. Mullen has been on an absolute tear this season.
Now and outside for ball 1. Brandon Luther, one of those newcomers here for the Jackfish this season. Played for Bellevue University in his college days, just finished up his college career. Vargas really taking his time here. The 1-0 holds off, 2-0.
And Luther's another one of those guys that's hitting over 300 on the year. 364 coming into this game. Has yet to hit a home run, but man, he's been hitting them all over the field.
The 2-0, swing and a miss. There's the strike that Vargas needed on that one. And again, you go to Vargas and that resume that he has. You know, an international mainstay with his native Cuba. Was at the Premier 12 tournament last fall. Actually led Cuba with 10 strikeouts. Held the opponents to a .150 average. The 2-1. And there's a strike painting the outside edge. So we're set up with the 2-2 here on Luther. Former Okotoks dog is going to take a step out of the box. And we'll try again. Slow going through these first two batters. Vargas really taking his time in his approach. The 2-2 is going to be fouled back.
And sometimes that might be the key with a pitcher, to maybe just slow things down a little bit. When you start rushing things, you might end up throwing more balls and losing that strike zone. So if you just slow down and take it easy, maybe that he can find it. And, there's no pitch clock here, which is huge. A lot of guys have had to get used to that in other leagues, so he can take his time.
And that'll be ball 3. Full count here on Luther. Hitting .364 on the year, 16 hits, 44 at-bats. The 3-2 swing, and that goes off the glove and off the end of the bat. Luther stays alive.
Yeah, this is an absolute battle right now between Vargas and Luther.
For those following on Point Streak, we don't have it fully up as of yet, so we'll do our darndest to keep you abreast of what is happening here in the ballpark, here live on the broadcast. The 3-2 is fouled off yet again.
Luther doing a really good job in this at-bat. Anything that he thinks is going to be close, he's just fouling it off until he's going to find his pitch, or Vargas can beat him.
Been a lot of transactions in the IBL in the last 24 to 48 hours. Of note, Welland just released Russell Young, signed by the Hamilton Cardinals. Cardinals have made a number of moves in the last 24 hours. The 3-2 upstairs, and a walk will be issued. Base runner on here for the Jackfish.
Right fielder, number 10, Mateo Porcelato.
So that'll bring up Matteo Porciolato. It's been to and fro, it seems, between here and the Frontier League. Matteo, of course, winning that championship in 2023 with the Jackfish. Played 10 games this season with the Quebec Capitals before returning back on June 5th.
And in 5 games so far, he's hitting .350. Yet another bat that's found his way here in Welland.
That'll be ball 1. Matteo working right field here tonight. Vargas gets set. Throw over to first, not in time as Luther will get in there. We've been seeing that a lot of attention paid to the first base. Seems like more and more, particularly this season, there's been a lot of aggression shown on the base path, no matter which team is entering the ballpark, as there is strike number 1.
Yeah, for sure. And there's another throw down there, trying to catch him sleeping. You have seen a lot of that, some throws to first base from the catcher, also the pitcher trying to pick him off. So it has been interesting that maybe the scouting report says a lot of guys are going to try to run. Luther has 5 stolen bases on the season, so he's definitely a speed threat.
Well, Welland is notorious for it. Remember a few years back they had, I believe, over 200 stolen bases. The 1-1 popped up. Shallow infield, goes into the outfield. That's Lucas Lefebvre, the former Fish, making the catch. Let's take a look at the defense for the Kitchener Panthers here tonight. As you see it there, tell us a little bit about that defense while I get this score bug up and running.
Yeah, we got Trent Lawson, who he spoke to before the game, playing out in left field. Penalve in center. Well, it's Lefebvre in right field. Fuji at the hot corner in third base. Mandalay at shortstop. Charlie Towers second base. AJ Carosis at first. And Vargas on the mound with Ibarra behind the dish.
They'll take on the reigning IBL Player of the Month in Robert Mullen. First pitch he sees, puts that one into left field, and that one's going to go off the wall in left center. Circling around third is Luther. They'll put the brakes on him, and that'll be a long single for Robert Mullen.
Yeah, that's just about as long as a single as you can get, but Mullen keeps swinging a hot bat. He was only about 2 feet from another home run on the season. He's been doing that, finding the gaps and putting them over the outfield wall, and he continues that right there. And now we have runners in the corners with 2 outs.
Well, this season, hitting .333 coming in, hits in 9 of 11 outings. Went 0 for 3 last night against Hamilton. But, I mean, you think about the run that he has been on this season. Again, 14 hits, 6 home runs, as he leads the IBL in that category. Jake Sanford, the third baseman. Couple of double checks and triple checks there from Vargas. So that'll go down low for ball 1.
Sanford having a great season as well. .365 in those 11 games, and he's got 19 hits on the year. He's shown some power with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs, so he has come up when runners are in scoring position.
Vargas will get set here again with runners on the corners. Check swing by Sanford. That one's going to be put into foul territory. Sanford, the Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia native, second year in the IBL. Was a first-team All-Star last season. His story well documented. Had a little bit of an issue when he was a member of the Yankees organization, trying to pick his way back up into the pro ranks and doing a heck of a job here with the Welland Jackfish. That one just missing on the inside. Puts the count at 2-1. Was number 1 in the IBL top 50 during the preseason when it came to ranking players. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. Strike 2 as he whiffs on that one.
I feel like that's something that you don't see him do too often. He's only struck out 6 times in 52 at-bats this year, so that was a really great pitch from Vargas there.
Vargas taking a look at his defense here, just trying to see if everybody's in the right position. Gets set for the 2-2. And that one just missing on the outside. You know, he wanted that one for the payoff, but it's a full count with 2 away.
Here comes his first really big test of the day. Full count, runners on the corners, 2 outs.
Sanford hitting .365 on the year. This would be a big dent if he can do something here. Swing and a miss, he got him. A swinging strikeout, and that will end the inning. Couple of runners stay aboard, and we head to middle of the first inning as we welcome viewers from the Rose City. Couple of hits on the board for the Welland one hit rather on the board for the Welland Jackfish, but unable to get the run across. What do you make of that top of the first there for the Kitchener Panthers?
Yeah, that was great patience by Vargas. He got himself into some trouble like we talked about in the pregame. You don't want to be giving away any free bases. So giving up that walk to Luther, and then you give up that deep single, kind of a lucky one to just hold them to a single there and not score the run. But then he settles in and he gets it done by striking out Sanford there. It could have been dangerous and a good test for him early on, and he showed a lot of patience.
Well, this will bring up Teodoro Ortega, who, well, he's been a killer his entire time in the Inter-County Baseball League. Ortega will get the start here for the Welland Jackfish this evening.
He had a really impressive arm on the mound. It's going to be a big challenge for these Panthers at bats, but the top of the order has really been swinging the bat well, so it's going to be a fun battle between them.
The native of Panama City, Panama, will get the start. Former Oakland Athletics. Now we just call them the Athletics these days. Signee in 2017, moved over to Texas via trade a year later. Played 5 years in the minors, got to single A in 21 and 22. Battled some injuries, got released by the Rangers in the spring of 2024, arrived at the signing deadline a year ago, and again, as advertised, another coup by the Welland Jackfish, and fits nicely into that rotation.
Yeah, he's a guy that started in the bullpen at one point in his career. Now he's a starter, and boy, has he ever done well. He has a fastball that gets up into the middle 90s, and he has some really, really great stuff. It's going to be quite the challenge, and you have a batter coming up here leading off, Fuji, who has been one of the hottest bats in the entire league. His batting average actually leads the league right now, or it's top 3 at least. And so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do against him. He has shown power. He has 5 home runs on the year. So that's really going to be an interesting battle between those two guys.
I know in particular some viewers tuned in on Sunday to see if he would go 3 for 3 when it comes to leadoff home runs. Didn't get it. Mind you, he did walk against the Guelph Royals on Sunday afternoon. But Yosuke Fuji, he's been going toe-to-toe with Robert Mullen atop the IBL home run leaderboard. So Yosuke Fuji will get things started here, the third baseman.
He has a lot of potential. Just 22 years old. He's shown some serious pop. Can hit it all over the field. He has speed. Plays the hot corner so well.
First pitch in there for a strike. Yosuke Fuji, the Mission, BC native. He's a switch hitter. So there's a little bit of that versatility that he can work with. That one well outside for ball 1.
Over the last 3 games, he's hitting .538.
That went in for a strike. Fuji finished off his senior year with the Campbellsville Tigers in the NAIA, was one of their best home run hitters in that entire league. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Big strikeout to start the Knights for Teodoro Ortega. Let's take a look at that lineup 1 through 9 for those Kitchener Panthers. So it'll be Yosuke Fuji to start things off. Jordan Mandalay is the shortstop, and Yusvani Penalve is the center fielder. Take us through the rest of the 1 through 9.
Yeah, you got Ibarra coming up after that. He's been a solid two-way player all season for them. Then it's Charlie Towers at second base. Nico Kairos DHing today. AJ Carosis at first. Trent Lawson out in left, and Lucas Lefebvre in right field, the former Jackfish.
So we'll see what Jordan Mandalay can get done here. That one misses downstairs. It's a 1-1 count. Mandalay, a long-time Quebec Capital, making the move over to the Intercounty Baseball League, puts that one foul.
He brings a lot of experience over to the Panthers here. Can be a great guidance for some of the younger guys, and he also can still swing a bat very, very well, hitting .351 on the season. He's got 1 home run and 8 runs. He's also 4 for 4 stealing bases. He's got some speed.
That one right across for strike 3, and Mandalay knew it immediately. He walked away. So just like that, there's 2 away here in the bottom of the first.
Ortega is dealing early on. His stuff looks really good. That fastball's been blowing right by them.
Let's take a look at the defense in behind Teodoro Ortega. It'll be Tyson Gom, Brandon Hupe, and Mateo Porcelato from left to right in the outfield. Sanford, Weisner, Luther, and Barrett from left to right in the infield. And Robert Mullen will be catching Ortega here tonight. Yusvani Penalve will step up to bat here in the bottom of the first. That one misses outside, 1-0. Penalve hitting .417 on the season, 15 for 36, 3 home runs, 11 RBI as that one's chopped foul. And the key is going to be here is just making sure that pitch count for Ortega stays in the 12 to 15 pitch range per inning. You'd like to see him go a long way. 0-1, that one right at the knees for a strike.
And Penalve is another Cuban that has lots of experience.
Oh, yes, he does. He has been around for quite a while. Consistent 300-plus hitter. That one's going to be scooped up by Barrett. He'll get it over to the bag with Ortega running in to cover, and that will do it. So the first inning is over. It remains nothing across between the Welland Jackfish and the Kitchener Panthers. We are going to throw it down to field level. Our friend McKenna Murray has got some festivities down at field level. Gonna check out what is happening down there.
Panthers fans, I am here with Emily and Bennett, and we are going to do the Dial the Tire race. What's going to happen is Bennett and Emily are going to race their tires as fast as they can all the way third base. They're going to roll their tires all the way back. Bennett, Emily, are you ready? Put these tires in the ground and get rolling. On the count of 3, fans, count us in. 1, 2, 3, roll those tires. Oh, Bennett's going off fast, cutting Emily right off. She can't get anywhere, going anywhere fast. Great job, Bennett. Come on back. You don't have to touch the plate, but great job. Bennett, come back on the grass, my friend. Bennett's rolling so fast, I think we have to give it to Bennett. Bennett, Emily's going anywhere fast. Bennett, come back over here, my friend. You are going home with a large blizzard, courtesy of our friends at Dairy Queen on Ottawa Street. Thank you for playing today's tire race presented by Dial the Tire. Panthers fans, let's give it up one more time for Bennett.
All right. Thank you, Bennett. Thank you, McKenna.
They're getting a large blizzard for winning that tire race.
I think I might have to run down there and try to get
what's,
involved in the tire races.
What's your blizzard of choice?
I'm a sucker for cookie dough. It's
Okay.
generic, but I love some good cookie dough. As well, as long as it's not through the straw, then it gets all clogged up. So you get a spoon. That's the best way around it.
Why would you eat a blizzard with a straw?
That's a really good point. I guess maybe a hot summer day it gets a little bit melted.
I am not going to judge you, my friend. I always do spoon with the blizzard. Gotta say, the mixing bowl that they introduced this summer, it's got the best of both worlds. The brownie batter, plus you got the chocolate chip cookie dough in there. All you need. Perfection, my friend. Perfection.
I'm gonna have to try because apparently I've been doing everything wrong.
It's okay. It's okay. I will teach you my ways, my friend. As we get set for the top of the second inning, 25 pitches needed for Andy Vargas to get through one. Again, you'd like to see that pitch count come down for him here, but facing some tough competition with Hoope, Barrett, and Cocker due up.
Yeah, Hoope, another batter hitting over 350. It seems like almost all of Welland's batters are right up there, and he's been really, really good in the season. 17 hits in 48 at-bats. He's got 11 RBIs, which is third on the team, and another guy that walks quite a bit too, something I've noticed with this Welland lineup. There's a lot of guys that are willing to just sit back and let them put you on base.
Yeah, they will take the pitches, and then when they see something they like, they tend to get the bat to the baseball.
Yeah, we saw that with Mullen last inning. They got lucky that it was just a long single off the wall.
That'll be a 1-2 count. I mean, Mullen, again, 6 home runs on the season, leading the league in that category. My apologies. Marcus Connect now with 6 home runs, so they're tied for the lead. Mullen and Connect are. That one missing just outside, 2-2. Fuji at 5. DeOlio from London with 4. That's your top 4. There's a group of players with 3 homers on the year, including Grayson Barrett and Jonah Weisner.
It seems like there's a lot of pop in the IBL this season.
The 2-2. That's put up high, deep to left field, and that, yes, talk about the pop. How about that one? Hoope, there it is. Brandon Hoope puts 1 yard to give the Welland Jackfish a 1-0 lead.
Right on cue. Been a lot of pop in the IBL this season, and he does just that, hitting his 2nd home run of the year. That one a no-doubter off the bat.
Looked like it was a little bit higher in the zone, but it was right in that sweet spot.
First baseman number 24.
Just a good approach by Brandon Hoope, and just like that, the Jackfish get it started here on a Thursday night.
That's the thing about this Jackfish lineup, 1 through 9. They can all hit the ball really well. They can all go deep. There's really no working around it, and that's what has made them so dangerous this season. Their confidence is just at an all-time high.
So that'll bring up Grayson Barrett. You talk about popping the bat. There's a hold off, but going to say he went around for strike 1. In the 7-hole here tonight, but any other team in the IBL, I think Grayson's kind of in that top 3, top 4.
Yeah, Barrett, 3 home runs on the season. He's been amazing for Welland so far.
Working first base here tonight.
He had the grand slam last night. He's a dangerous hitter.
Swing and a miss. Strike 2. And Barrett's another one of those just depth guys, right? Although you don't want to call him just a depth guy because he's going to make you eat your words. 2nd year in the IBL, just a depth guy, 1st team All-Star last season.
Yeah, it just shows the immense depth that this team has.
The delivery well inside, 2-2. It's a dual Canadian and U.S. citizen from Bakersfield, California. Going to be 25 years old. He's just 24 right now. Vargas steals, and that one's going to roll off of Ibarra, as he's going to have to take a moment here.
He got to be tough to be a catcher. And the amount of times we've seen him have to shake off these foul balls and such. And then a couple weekends ago, we saw him when he was at the plate, we saw him take a pitch off the ribs like he doesn't already get beat up enough back there. But as tough as they come, and he's been amazing behind the plate this season. He's really impressed me with his defensive abilities, picking off batters.
All right, there is strike 3 as Grayson Barrett goes down on K's. That's the second swinging strikeout of the evening for Andy Vargas, and there's one away.
It's a great job by Vargas to put that last at-bat behind him. That was just a really impressive hit by Hoope to get that ball out of the park. It was real up high, and he took it deep, and Vargas does a good job, settle back in, and get Barrett to go down swinging.
Well, that'll turn to Sam Cocker. Third year in the league, was the Rookie of the Year in 2022. Works as a catcher, but batting DH here tonight. Kind of have that 1-2 punch in behind home plate with Robert Mullen. Delivered there, right through the gap and into left field. First pitch turned on is a base hit for Sam Cocker.
And I was watching him in warm-ups, and man, he was swinging the bat well. He was spraying it all over the field, and right there finds a pitch that he likes and gets on base.
So right down to the number 9 hole, and it is Tyson Gaum, the left fielder, hitting just 167 to start the year. A guy they'd like to see get rolling. That one just missing down for strike 1.
And you know that he has the potential to get it going. He played for the Canadian junior national team, and he's definitely a player that Welland would like to see get going, because then 1 through 9 would just be absolutely buzzing for them.
There's a swing and a miss for strike number 1. Hasn't gotten a hit in the last 3 games. Mind you, he came in late. Didn't actually record an at-bat last night against Hamilton. As well as against Toronto, he had the 1 at-bat. Was struck out on that occasion. The 1-1, well outside, 2-1. So when you factor in games where he's gotten more than 1 at-bat, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's really hard as a hitter to come off cold from the bench and just jump right into the game and be able to make a huge impact. So for him, this is going to be big to get the start and maybe get things going a little bit, because you get to go through that usual routine.
Downstairs, under the knees, 3-1. Well, 2-2. My apologies. Just going by the scoreboard here, but apparently it's a slip. The 2-2. That one's put up high and into foul territory.
Welland's really been working Vargas's pitch count up, and he's got them to 2 strikes a couple times, and then just can't get them to go down swinging with all these foul balls. It's getting that pitch count up early on.
Well, it's up to 5, looking at number 6 coming here. Already that pitch count up to 42. There's 43 inside. Gong gets out of the way. Puts the count at 3-2. Runner on first. Noticeably, when you look at the first inning, there was a lot of attention paid to Brandon Luther, not so much over at Sam Cocker.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't even have an attempt on the season to steal a base, so you're not as worried about his speed over there on first base.
Pop fly right in front of the warning track to center field. Penalve will make the catch, and that's 2 away.
The ball just seems to carry so far here. I thought that one was going to be a shallow fly, and it's right up against that center field wall.
Well, at times, those kind of pop flies, you get a little bit of wind. The wind is very much not a factor right now. if you have even just the slightest wind, I bet you that ball is out of the ballpark.
Yeah, and it seems like almost every single game so far this season we've had that wind blowing out, which has caused some, explosions of runs here.
Weisner drops the bunt down into the field, over to first in time, and that will retire the side. Weisner trying to catch the Panthers defense flat-footed. Not so much, as we will go to the bottom of the second, and a home run from Brandon Hoope makes it 1-0 for the Jackfish.
Kitchener going to have to hope that they can get to Ortega in the bottom of this inning. He's been so good so far. He had 2 strikeouts in that first inning, so Ibarra and others coming to the dish here are going to have to see if they can catch what he's cooking here today.
Well, there you see the box score here. Just the 1 run so far on the game. 3 hits for the Welland Jackfish. Kitchener yet to get one off of Teodoro Ortega, and Ortega just needed an even dozen to get through 1.
The one matchup that I'm really interested to see today is both of these teams' catchers. We were talking about it a little bit in that last inning. You have Robert Mullen behind the plate for Welland and Ibarra coming to the dish for the Panthers. They're both great two-way players. Mullen obviously has been on an absolute tear this season, but Ibarra, another guy who has a very smooth swing.
Well, it was the 1-2-3 bottom half of the first. Let's see what Junior Ibarra, Charlie Towers, and Nico Kairos can muster on Mr. Ortega, who again brings such the resume into the Intercounty Baseball League. We had talked about it his time with the Oakland organization, with Texas. His fastball touches around 94, started as a bullpen guy, then moved out into a starter role. They call him the Silent Assassin.
That is an unbelievable nickname. I love it.
So we're going to get set for the bottom half of the second inning, as we thank you for joining us here on Panthers TV. Mark Pare, Justin Holmes with you. Junior Ibarra, the catcher, will start things off here for the Kitchener Panthers. And, Junior's another guy that's been swinging a hot bat this season.
Yeah, he really has. He's been impressive. 275 on the year, 11 hits, and 2 doubles. Just the 1 home run so far, but he's a guy that can definitely swing it around.
First pitch he sees is a ground ball over the glove, and Barrett unable to make the grab. That is going to be an error, I would imagine. And the first batter is aboard here for the Kitchener Panthers.
Yeah, that one just getting away from Sanford. It took a really, really odd hop there. Just went right over Barrett's head. He went to go scoop it down low, and it must have hit a bump or rock or something and went all the way back to the fence. But the Panthers will take anything that they can get here against these Welland Jackfish.
Well, officially the error is going to be charged against Jake Sanford. Now squaring up to bunt there was Charlie Towers. Looks like that one went off just the bottom of the bat.
Yeah, Towers has some speed, so it's definitely not a bad idea to try to advance that runner, and maybe he can lag one out himself.
Well, it's a speedy team. They're 25 for 28 are the Kitchener Panthers on stolen bags this year. They've been really aggressive on the base path. Inside. Evens the count at 1-1.
That you wouldn't think of Ibarra as a big, threat over there on first base, but he's even 1 for 1 on the season.
He picks his spots quite nicely.
Yeah, it seems like the Panthers have all been doing that really well this season.
That one just missing on the outside edge. 2-1. Towers, with his 3rd team in 3 seasons, played for the Hamilton Cardinals in 2023, last season with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That one's sent up high.
Ooh.
And that'll be put out of play.
I think that one hit Pete Kiefer in the dugout, but he seems to be all good. He just shrugged that one off and keeps going.
Foul back yet again as Charlie Towers stays alive.
Towers doing a great job of getting that pitch count up and not giving up with 2 strikes. If he thinks anything's close, he's swinging, making some contact. Something we've seen the Jackfish do well so far. And now the Panthers are getting that from Towers.
Delivery, another one is put out of play. A very lengthy at-bat here for Charlie Towers. His last 3 pitches he has seen have been fouled away.
Towers.
More, mind you, I believe that's 4 now.
Towers, someone that they'd love to see get going. He's just hitting 189 on the season, but he has that history of being a very good hitter, hitting 291 with the Leafs last season.
And another one fouled back. I thought that was going to get stuck in the fence.
The fan in the front row thought it was coming through.
He didn't really flinch all that much, if at all. He's got that Blue Jays Nona stamina.
Exactly. Something I need to learn from. I'm ducking under the desk every time one gets fouled back at me.
Here comes the 2-2. And that one's chopped right over to Barrett. He'll make the grab over to second base, and he got him. That's a 3-6 double play, and they'll erase the runner on the base path. Just a fortuitous bounce that goes in favor of the defense.
That was a great play by Barrett. He gets to first base, steps on it, and then it was a good heads up. Nice, perfect throw, and realizing that it wasn't the forced play, tagging Ibarra, and it's a good job by the Jackfish on defense.
So 2 away here for Nico Kairos. Ortega still has faced the minimum. That will miss down low. One and one count. Ortega, the deal, put into right center. And that's going to go all the way back and gone. It's a ground rule double. Didn't see the baseball hit the ground, but they're going to say that that one hit the ground before it bounced over, so it'll be a ground rule double for Nico Kairos.
Yeah, I think that one hit just in front of the warning track out there and just got over the fence. It proves for how big that double play was by Barrett and Weisner in the previous at-bat, because that one possibly could have scored runners if Ibarra was on his horse, but just a ground rule double.
First pitch seen there from A.J. Karosis will go for a strike. A.J. working first base tonight. Usually you see Nick Parsons over there, but Parsons working from the bench tonight, getting the night off. That one's put out of play. The Panthers have a busy weekend coming up. Both games after this tonight will be on the road. Will be on a Friday night in Labatt Park in London tomorrow, and then into Arnold Anderson Stadium at 2 o'clock Sunday.
Yeah, so not a bad idea to give Kairos some rest. Ortega continues to deal.
So just like that, it is the end of the second. Welland leads Kitchener 1-0. We'll go to break. Stay with us. This is Panthers TV.
Get ready, Hamilton. It's the 2025 IBL Home Run Derby and All-Star Game. Hosted by the Hamilton Cardinals at beautiful Bernie Arbor Stadium. Watch the league's top sluggers crush moonshots in the Derby. Then see the best of the best go head-to-head under the lights in the All-Star Game. Grab your tickets now at HamiltonCardinals.com, because this summer, the stars shine brightest in Hamilton.
Welcome back to Panthers TV. Mark Pare and Justin Holmes here with you. This is Panthers TV, sponsored by Rogers, our good friends at Rogers, helping us out. So we get set for the third inning. Welland Jackfish with the 1-0 lead. A Brandon Hoope home run, and no doubter over the fence. As we have the heart of the order due up here for the Welland Jackfish in the third, as they look to add to their lead. Brandon Luther, or rather, yes, it is Brandon Luther. High and deep and over the fence it goes. Home run, Brandon Luther, 2-0 Welland.
Welland continues to swing a hot bat. That one just getting over the center field wall. It looked like maybe he had a chance to rob it, but couldn't pull it back in. And it's another solo shot for the Jackfish.
And this is the one thing that has really burned the Panthers in years past. They can hit the home run, but too often they've also been burned by the home run, particularly in their own ballpark.
And that's Luther's first of the year. It's such a hitter's friendly park here, so sometimes it can work in your favor and sometimes it doesn't. And so far the Jackfish are taking advantage of it.
There's ball one on Mateo Porcelato, who flew out to the right fielder his last time up. Missing on the inside as Vargas, really trying to just work that inside and take some of the power away from the bats.
Yeah, he's really only made those two mistakes so far, and Welland doing a good job of jumping all over it.
Put into left field, and that's going to be a base hit. Mateo Porcelato 1 for 2 tonight.
Another bat that continues his great season. That's his 8th hit of the year. Came into the game batting .350. Gets the blooper to go to left there and get a batter on for one of the best bats in the league, Robert Mullen.
See what he can do here. And I don't want to give the old broadcaster jinx. We talked about how hot he has been to start the year. Had a 3-game hitting streak snapped against Hamilton last night. As now the umpires switch around as Mateo Porcelato is able to take the base.
Yeah, the Jackfish clearly are aggressive on the base paths here tonight. It's something we've seen in the past, and it seems to be keeping going.
Mullen puts that one into foul territory and almost making the catch as Yosuke Fuji right in the dirt. Was trying to track that one down, got stopped by the fence. It landed still in play, but I think that might be a matter of Fuji also paying attention to make sure he's not running into the fence at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Those ones are really tough to track down unless you're, you don't care about your health at all and you just run straight into that fence. But he runs into it, sees it there, so he looks down for a second, then you look back up, and it's so hard in that split second to retract that ball. You saw the other day it was the Pickering native over for the Athletics, and Denzel Clark running directly into the wall, which you don't want to see guys do, because as much as you like to get the out, you want these guys to be on the field, especially a player like Fuji.
Absolutely. With the way he has been swinging the bat to start the year, stay healthy, my friend. Stay healthy. Here comes the 1-2 to Mullen. Fouls that one off of his foot, and he's going to have to shake that one off. That's not going to feel good. So again, don't want to get into the broadcaster's jinx at all, but as I mentioned before, had a 3-game hitting streak snapped. In those 3 games, just went 1 for. And then in the previous the first 5 games of the year, it just seemed like he could not miss. Batting .530, his .533 on-base percentage was among tops in the IBL heading into the new month. He had a .458 average, but that has dipped down since then to a .333. And not minuscule by any means, as Mullen gets checked on here.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to walk this one off. It looks like he took it right to the shin, which those ones can really, really sting when you get right to the shin. So hopefully he's going to be all right. Looks like he's got good movement to it, but man, those hurt quite a bit.
Seems like he's going to be all right. Spells good news for the Jackfish, who, as mentioned before, very, very busy the last couple of days. Game in Guelph on Tuesday, hosted Hamilton last night, and then a couple of weekend dates. They're off tomorrow night, and then visiting Pare on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and then hosting Guelph on Sunday. And that'll be a 1:05 first pitch at Welland Stadium, their next home date. That one downstairs under the knees.
Yeah, we had that 1 week where it seemed like just about every game was getting rained out. We had rain almost every day, so that's kind of caused a bit of the bunch up for some of these teams. They played in that rain out the makeup game last night, so you see that around the league where all of a sudden now you have a bunch of games, but these guys are pros and they can handle it for sure.
Check over at second base to Porcelato, keeping an extra eye on him. Down into the dirt, 3-2. Welland with 5 hits already on the evening. The 3-2 inside, and Robert Mullen will take first base. Nobody away, and there's a runner on first and second. After giving up that home run to Brandon Luther, Andy Vargas is finding himself into a bit of a jam here in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, sometimes when you have that good of a hitter at the plate, you don't want to give them anything to take a swing at, so it's not the worst call in the world. Now you have the force play. You don't have any outs in the inning, so you have now the force play. You can look for a double play, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it definitely doesn't get any easier, and that's the tough part about this lineup, because Sanford has been a very, very good bat. You mentioned he was ranked first in the league coming into the season, and
albeit arbitrarily, it's a list that was put together. I mean, I will admit that I did play a bit of a role in helping that list come together.
Of course, but it shows the respect that he has around the league as a hitter.
Well, it's just the way he's played. I mean, just hitting .393 during the season in 31 games a year ago, hit .325 during the playoffs. That one's well outside, 2-0. Comes into this game tonight, and I mean, you just look at his 11-game output. Hits in 10 of 11 outings, and in the last 4 games, he's got at least 3 hits in 3 of the last 4 outings. It's just unbelievable stuff. The 2-0, swing and a miss. 3 for 6 last night against Hamilton. He was 0 for 4 against Guelph. A 3 for 5 evening in Toronto on Sunday, and then went 4 for 5 last Saturday against London. And they say El Fuego. He is El Fuego Luchador, as Sanford fouls that one back.
And he's top 5 on the Jackfish in runs batted in, so you know he can swing it when there's guys in scoring position. So this is a big spot for him and a big spot for Vargas. That pitch count already working up almost in the 60s, so you're looking at, they've done such a good job of extending these at-bats, a lot of foul balls, so it's a big spot for both of these guys right here.
Check over at Portulato at second. Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. Swinging strikeout on Jake Sanford. That's the second time he's gone down on strikes here tonight. And a much-needed first out
and
here in the third.
It doesn't get any easier. You have Hupe coming to the dish now, who hit that solo shot in the last inning. But great job by Vargas to get the strikeout, because now you put yourself in a position that a double play ends the inning.
Hupe hit that home run in the second to open the scoring. The delivery, swing and a miss. Big cut there from Hupe, but just swings underneath the baseball. And again, Hupe playing collegiately at UBC, fouls that one back. The sun's starting to set here at beautiful Jack Couch Park. What a beautiful evening. We got a bit of cloud cover, but for the most part, it's been a sunny day. It's felt rather warm, not overly humid. A little bit of a breeze in the air.
Feels like summer.
It really does.
Not much better than a summer night like this. You got the smell of the popcorn coming from the booth and some baseball being played.
That might be my popcorn, friend, as that one's fouled back. But again, you go back to Hupe, a North Delta BC native, played part of 2024 with Trois Rivières in the Frontier League, also played in the West Coast League for Nanaimo, Kelowna, also played for Okotoks. The look over, the 0-2. Shallow right field. Conjunction at the junction, perhaps. No siree. Charlie Towers makes the catch in shallow right. And that's 2 away here in the third.
Yeah, that was great communication there. I thought for sure that we might have a collision on our hands between those two guys. But that was a great job by Towers to track that one down. Holds the runners where they are.
Grayson Barrett now up. He swung out striking his last time up. For those chiming in on the chat, we thank you for joining us. And while you're at it, tell us where you're watching from. We love to see where everybody has their eyes on this Thursday night tilt. You could be in Welland. You could be somewhere here in Waterloo region. You could be elsewhere. Swing and a miss for strike one on Grayson Barrett.
Yeah, it's always great. It seems like you get the worldwide. It's crazy to see. I've seen some Cubans in the chat before. It's always a lot of fun to see. Baseball's a universal sport that brings everyone together.
You get a little bit of everything, and could be on vacation. That one missing outside. Still tune in. If you got that Wi-Fi going for you on a resort somewhere, why not?
Exactly.
Throw on the baseball game if you're looking for some rest and relaxation too. There's a swing and a miss. 1-2 count here on Barrett.
Barrett came up big last night when he had runners in scoring position with a grand slam.
Now they're going to check on the baseball here. That's home plate umpire Steve Cochran coming up to just exchange it. There we go. Someone chiming in from Kingston, Ontario. Good end of the province. You know, there is that chatter of expanding to a 10-team intercounty baseball league and wondering where that 10th team might end up going and how that alignment would look like if you put in 2 divisions. The 1-2, strike 3!
Vargas settles down and gets it done there, striking out the last 2 batters in the inning. A great job by him not to let those solo shots go to his head, and he just settles in and gets the job done.
So for Andy Vargas, that pitch count did go up quite a bit. Goes up to 69 pitches, needed 24 to get out of the inning. Had a leadoff home run from Brandon Luther to make it 2-0, but nothing else. As again, we'll take a look at the box score in just a second. 2 runs on 5 hits for the Welland Jackfish. The 1 error charged as well. But right there, it's all about settling in, and Andy Vargas did a good job of that after the first 3 batters got on board.
Yeah, he gave up those solo shots, a couple walks, but he did a really good job of settling back in. When the walks are coming up against guys like Robert Mullen, who's, you know, one of the front runners for MVP very, very early in this season, you don't hate throwing a guy on base like that, and then you come back and you strike out 2 of the next 3 batters. That's pretty good stuff from him. So sitting in 69 pitches, it'll be interesting to see if he gets to go out once again. I don't see any movement down in the Panthers bullpen, so you'll have to expect it. They're hoping to get a couple more out of him, but he did a great job of limiting the damage there.
Teodoro Ortega comes back in. Just 25 pitches needed to get through the first 2 innings of work. And I mean, you think about Andy Vargas, where, you know, some of his outings in particular, I still remember that game in Toronto to start the year. You know, it didn't go as long. Yadier Martinez came on later on, just went to 3. He goes for 5 innings against Chatham-Kent on May 18th here at home. In the last couple, he's gone 7 strong. So you're seeing that workload build up a little bit more, and you'd like to see that workload continue to maybe be around that 6-inning, 7-inning range.
Yeah, exactly. You want to slowly work these guys up. You don't want to, tire out their arms too early on into the season.
Well, this is Trent Lawson, the 8-9-1 hitters due up for the Kitchener Panthers here in the bottom of the 3rd. Swing and a miss. Lawson working out in left field tonight. He was your guest during the pregame show.
Yeah, thanks so much to him for joining us. A really great guy, and he said the team is pleased with how they've done so far, but he feels like there's another level that they can get to, so we'll have to see what he can do. And he's been really, really consistent this season, and that's what he said that he's liked about his swing. Very repeatable. He's been doing it all year long. He was hitting over 400. He's still hitting 5 coming into this game. He's hitting 357 on the year, 10 hits. He's shown some speed. He has 2 stolen bases, so he's been a guy at the end of this order that has been a very pleasant surprise for the Panthers.
OPS around 831 coming into tonight. 1 for 2 against Guelph on Sunday. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. 4th strikeout of the ball game for Teodoro Ortega, and notably 3 of those 4 have been swinging strikeouts.
He has really brought his A game today. It's not like he doesn't ever, but these Panthers batters just are having some trouble solving him so far.
And it's this 279 average for the Panthers as a unit coming into tonight as Lucas Lefebvre will step into the batter's box here. Played a couple of games for the Welland Jackfish to start the season, signed with the Jackfish back in January. Just got released a few days ago, signed with the Panthers last week. And there is a strike. Signed with the Panthers along with Ayad Ansari as Shanif Harani, the general manager, continuing to build around what they have. Wanted to see what they had in store first. Fielded by Weisner over to first in time. They'll get the outs.
Yeah, and why not take a chance on a guy like him? He's a 2003, so he's a young guy. If he can really get it going, he could be a diamond in the rough for them. And what better way to make your debut for the team too? You're going up against your former team. It's just some extra motivation.
And maybe a couple of secrets here and there. Hey, how does this guy pitch? How does this guy operate?
Exactly.
So Yosuke Fuji back up here as he takes ball one. Swing and a miss for strike one. Fuji swinging strikeout back in the first. As we talked about, one of the better hitters in the IBL this season, hitting .464. Swing and a miss. And just absolutely bringing heat here is Teodoro Ortega.
Yeah, when you have a batter like Fuji swinging and missing like that, he's got some great stuff on the mound.
It is a strike. Throw over to first, and they'll get the outs. Taking his time there was the first base umpire, Matt Neely, thinking, did he come off the bag? Did he not? But that is going to be a strikeout and the throw over to first to complete it.
Yeah, it's been a couple nice plays on the defensive side of things for Barrett. That one, I thought there was no way he was going to keep his foot on the bag, kind of shuffles over. Great job.
Head to break and head downstairs to McKenna Murray. We got some more games at field level.
Our friends at New Valley Golf. Jack, you ready? Let's see it. First hoop attempt. Let's see it. So close to knock it over. Let's see if you can get it. Over the hoop. So close. You hoop the hoop. Hoop the bucket. I believe you, Jack. You know what? I feel like 2 bucket knocks over count as a bucket hoop. Great job, Jack. You are going home with a round of pitching putt from our friends at New Valley Golf Course. Everyone, can I get a big Panthers round of applause for our friend Jack?
Great job, Jack. Thank you very much. Thank you, McKenna.
All right, well, while you're with us, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can be notified anytime the Kitchener Panthers are posting new content onto that YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter, on X, on Instagram as well for all of the latest updates, anything and everything Panther related. You can also head to our website, KitchenerPanthers.com. Get your tickets at KitchenerPanthers.com/tickets. And check out all the goodies that we have thrown out onto the websites throughout the off-season. We got the single season records up there now. We got the all-time leaders up there now. Again, some data might be missing. There are some eras in the IBL where data just is not physically available to get it. So to the best of our knowledge and the data that it is being worked with, that data is up now on the KitchenerPanthers.com website, as that's going to be strike one. To start things off, here against Sam Cocker. 8-9 hitters due up for the Welland Jackfish.
It's a league with such an immense history, and it goes back so far, so of course you're going to be missing stuff. But yeah, it's a great feature that was added. I got to check out the pro shop before the game. There's some really great items in there. They're really bringing it this year.
And if you're getting me a nice present, I take a 7 and an 1/8 for a hat size. So 2-1 count here on Cocker. You can get all kinds of different goodies down in that pro shop. You can order online as well. Again, another feature on the Kitchener Panthers website. You can order online and get some goodies for yourself, as there's a swing and a miss. As I don't believe that is actually Sam Cocker. They have replaced him. Looks like that is Nigel Sebastianelli, number 1 at the dish. That one's going to be put deep into right field, all the way back, and it goes to the fence. Throw into second, and getting in there, standing up, allegedly is Sam Cocker, who again on the sheet is number 16, but the man down at second base now is number 1.
Either way, another great at-bat for him. First, he had a single in the first at-bat of the game, and then there goes opposite field and gets into second. And Gone with another chance to get going. He flew out to center field earlier in this one.
Well, we're just going to have to get everything sorted out with Cocker because, again, if the change was made, they didn't tell us. And there's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here on the man that I know is Tyson Gom. That one missing outside. You know, if they wanted to make a change, you'd think they'd let the announcers know.
Prevent some confusion. But
well, it's a 2-1 count here on Gom, who flew out to center field back in the second. Upstairs, 3-1. Zandy Vargas is getting up there. 77 pitches already here in the third, or rather the fourth.
yeah, he's found himself in a lot of full counts and a couple troublesome situations. And there surrenders another walk.
They are going to walk him. So a runner now on first and second.
Back to the top of the order, shortstop number 4, Jonah Weisner.
Now, fans, if you would like to help us out this season and get in on the exciting world that is Kitchener Panthers baseball here at Jack Couch Park, head on over to our careers page. Go to KitchenerPanthers.com. You'll see it in the tab. It has careers. You click careers, send an email today, and let us know when you'd like to come on down. We'll help you out, set you up, and very flexible scheduling here too.
Yeah, it's always great to get involved in the community. You get to come out and watch some baseball as well. It's a win-win situation for everybody.
Best way to spend your summer, folks. Come on down. Holding off on the pitch there was Weisner. 1-1 count.
Weisner is another guy that isn't afraid to just take a walk. He's got 7 on the season. And
well, he's got a hit there as that one drops into shallow left field. Getting the wave home is Sam Cocker, and it's 3-0 Welland.
Weisner picks up his 12th RBI of the season. That's tied for second on the team. And Welland Jackfish just continue to find ways to score. They've done it with the long ball, and then there a bloop single to left field. Kiefer's going to come out and have a mound meeting.
So we'll see what the conversation is here, as again, there's a runner on first and second base. And with nobody out, again, maybe you want to try to turn the double play here. That's what you want to hope for at the very least.
Yeah, find himself in another jam, and Luther is a very dangerous bat, so you don't want to give him anything to hit. We've already seen him go deep in this game.
So Brandon Luther, who has a walk and a home run in this game. Again, 3-0 the score. Missing down low, ball one. Luther lays off of that one. So whomever our mystery man was wearing number 1 circled the bag. Came in to score on that RBI single from Jonah Weisner. Weisner now at first. Tyson Gaum is at second.
The Jackfish now scoring in 3 straight innings.
That one right at belt level for strike 1.
Vargas pitch count up in the 80s now.
Yeah, exactly. There's different key moments for both guys.
When you have lots of cameras, then you can do those things.
That one's lined into right field. Luther with the hit, and the bases are loaded.
They're holding him at third, and that was a good call, as that was a great throw in from right field. It would have been a close play at the plate, so hold him and load the bases up.
And it is Brendan Luther. Again, it's all about getting these scorecards correct. We had it written on the scorecard given to us by the Jackfish as Brandon Luther. I even wrote in my notes, Brandon Luther. But it is Brendan. Brandon, no matter how you cut it, that one's going to be a wild pitch, and a run comes in to score to make it 4-0.
That one an unfortunate break for Vargas, and he loses the ball there as Ibarra goes to throw it back to him, but it took an unfortunate bounce off the pole behind home plate. Not sure if they would have got him anyway with that. It's a deep backstop here, but the Jackfish score another run, and they continue to buzz.
So Mateo Porcelato now with 2 runners in scoring position. And a lot of trouble here for Andy Vargas.
Still no outs in the inning.
Put down the line, and that'll be just foul. And this is what we talked about in the pregame, partner. You know, not necessarily looking for power, although they have gotten it quite a bit here in this game. But this is Welland Jackfish baseball. They're going to make contact with the baseball. They're going to put it in play, and they're going to take advantage of mistakes.
Yeah, they're going to beat you in so many different ways. You know, we've seen the power from them. We've seen the small ball. It's like, how can you beat a team that's really doing it all like this?
Porcelato hit a single back in the 3rd inning. Flew out to the right fielder in the 1st. 1-2 count. Nobody out. So we start to go under the lights here at Jack Couch Park. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. Big first out of the inning for Andy Vargas.
Catcher number 23, Robert
Yeah, it'll be a big sigh of relief for him to bounce back after a couple really tough at-bats and get Porcelado to go down swinging, but it does not get easier. You got one of the hottest bats in the league coming to the plate here in Robert Mullen.
So Robert Mullen, and I am getting confirmation from the Jackfish themselves that Cocker is indeed wearing number 1 today. Looks like his jersey was misplaced. Well, you can buy one of those on eBay, can't you? Yeah. Mullen puts one high and deep into center field, back, and gone. Robert Mullen with his league-leading 7th of the season. That's a 3-run bomb to make it 7-0.
You saw him just miss the home run earlier in this game. He was a long single off the top of the wall, but he gives this one enough juice to get out of here and continue his scorching hot start to the season.
Third baseman number 13.
Stay hot, reigning, defending, undisputed IBL Player of the Month. Now my question is, if you have Sebastianelli on the bench, what jersey does he wear?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Maybe they just swap them if he comes in. I'm not sure.
He's eligible to play, and it says he's number 1, at least on the scorecard here. But if he had to give up his jersey over to Sam Cocker, do you just go and find one secondhand? That one misses outside.
It's a guy that was known for losing things when growing up. My mom would always be like, all right, where's your jacket? How is it on the bus yet again? I'll cut a little bit of slack.
Friend, I have ADHD. I forget things on the regular. That one is a strike.
Walk into a room and forget what I went in there for.
Well, 7-0 is the score. The Welland Jackfish leading by a touchdown and an extra point. Sanford has struck out both times he's been up at the dish. And it'll be a walk issued to Jake Sanford as he gets on base for the first time tonight.
Vargas struggling to find the zone in this inning. It's been a tough one. 5 runs for the Jackfish, and there's some movement out there in the Panthers bullpen as it looks like it's Brett Reed warming up for the Panthers. So we'll have to see how much longer that Pete Kiefer lets Vargas go here as the Jackfish are once again just pouring on the runs on an IBL team.
It's been one of those weeks, and I think they may have taken that wager from Braden Farrington quite to heart. Undefeated for an entire week with the busy week that you have. He'll wear a Welland Jackfish jersey on the IBL Inside Pitch podcast next week. Swing and a miss.
This Welland team, they've been doing this all season long, scoring a league high 103 runs. We were both looking at it before the game and just could not believe that their run differential is plus 67. The next closest is plus 16.
That one went in on the hands of Hoope, and you can just tell the power there as he's able to put that one into center field for a base hit. Pitch a little bit more on the inside, but Hoope is able to get a piece of it enough.
First baseman number 24,
and
Pare.
Officially, this is the 9th hitter of the inning for the Welland Jackfish. And again, for those chiming in on the chat, let us know where you're chiming in from, and maybe I'll give you some homework later on tonight and get you guys to interact with us. Let us know where you'd like to see the 10th baseball team in the intercounty. Don't know when it's going to come in, possibly as early as next season, maybe 2 years' time. But where would you like to see that next team? The 1-0, swing and a miss by Barrett for strike one. And could be Oshawa, could be Windsor, maybe somewhere Ajax, perhaps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Somewhere out east after there's quite the traffic to get out here for me today. So I would love if we got a team out there in Ajax or Pickering. But yeah, it would be nice to see maybe a team over on the east a little bit more. And
look, there was a post by the Intercounty Baseball League when this chatter started to increase. They mentioned Montreal. Think about that one for a second. Could Montreal be a candidate in the Intercounty Baseball League?
Why not?
Imagine the travel for Chatham-Kent to have to go to Montreal.
Yeah, it would. That would be tough.
Howe missing on the outside for a walk to Grayson Barrett. And back to the man that led things off. This is Sam Cocker. With the bases loaded and 2 away. And I think that's going to be curtains for Andy Vargas. Brett Reed set to come into the ball game. Let's take a quick 30-second break. We'll be back after this. Don't go anywhere. This is Panthers TV.
Now pitching for Panthers, number 51, Brett Reed.
Welcome back to Panthers TV. Brett Reed comes into the ball game for the Kitchener Panthers, taking over for Andy Vargas.
Yeah, we've only seen him in 1 inning so far this year, and the Panthers are hoping that they can get something out of him as Vargas struggled a little bit in this start. The Jackfish are just such a tough lineup to solve, and he leaves the bases loaded here.
First pitch delivered by Brett Reed. Just catches the outside edge for a strike. Reed known as being that usual guy out of the pen, particularly last year. More often than not, he was the first guy out of the pen after the starter. Gets into a similar situation here tonight.
Yeah, the Panthers are definitely hoping that he can eat up a couple of innings for them.
Again, a busy weekend ahead. They'll go into London on Friday, into Brantford on Sunday.
It's a great job by Ibarra there again to block that ball and not let a wild pitch score another run.
Officially the 10th batter of the inning, looking to turn the double play. They won't be able to as the ball hops on Charlie Towers. Everybody is safe. Sanford scores. It's 8-0 Welland. Taking advantage of those mistakes yet again.
That was exactly what they were looking for, that ground ball that probably should have been a double play, get them out of this inning, but it takes a funky bounce, and just like that, they're still in the bases loaded jam.
So the error officially will be charged to Towers. And it's a 1-0 count here on Tyson Gom. Hoope on third, Barrett on second, Cocker on first. The 1-0 right across Broadway for a strike.
Great pitch there by Reed.
I'm getting some responses to the homework assignment. Some thinking Windsor, some thinking adding another team into Niagara region. That one downstairs, 2-1. But I'm very curious on what that'll end up entailing. Because again, you think about, you put a 10th team in, you think about the travel. Say it is a Montreal. I'm just speculation, wild speculation, if you will. I'm known for it. Wild speculation always. Say you put a team in Montreal or even a team in Ottawa, let's say. You have the 5-team alignment per division, and you have the teams in, say, a West Division. That one's fouled back. A West Division traveling to the East once a season. You make it a one weekend trip. Say you go into, say, Welland, or however you align it. You do a 3-day weekend. You do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You come back, bing, bang, boom. There's 3 of your 5 games on the road against the other division out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. I think the logistics for it could definitely work. There would be a lot of travel involved if you did that big of an expansion, but it's exciting times for the IBL.
Well, they're going to walk in another run, make it 9-0 Welland. And I think we're starting to get into that territory, partner. We're just going to continue on this, chatter train, because this game is quickly getting out of hand.
Yeah, Welland is just a different beast early in this season. I talked about their run differential on the, they're 7-0 on the road. Looks like they're gonna get to 8-0, although it's still early in this game. And what I like to say is there's no lead ever safe here at Jack Couch. But
well, this might be safe as 1 run comes in, 2 runs come in, make it 11-0 Welland as they continue to pile it on. Remember, just still 1 away here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, this has been a tough inning for the Panthers, and this is exactly what we talked about in the pregame, how Welland, they'll slowly, slowly work down the other team and wear them out, and then all of a sudden there's that 1 inning where they just go off, and you're seeing exactly that in this inning with an 8 spot.
So Tyson Gall moves over to third. Weisner is on first. And that one just picks the corner for Brendan Luther, who is 2 for 2 with a walk. Why not have a second team in Niagara region? You can squeeze it into Niagara Falls, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously there is, there are a lot of logistics that you kind of have to figure out when you're trying to get another team within the vicinity of another. I mean, there's obviously territorial rights that have to come into play there too. So, I mean, probably not going to see one in Niagara region for that very reason, but
hey, never say never. It would make for quite the rivalry.
Just like Kitchener and Guelph. 10-0 scoreline. Luther sends that one down the line, foul. Well, I've already given my opinion on this too, and it's if you have that alignment going where you have 5 teams per division, I've already said it to myself, Chatham-Kent, London, Kitchener, Guelph is going to be in one division no matter where this 10th team would go. The 1-2 into the dirt, 2-2. And then depending on where that team goes, the 10th team, that's what decides which division it goes into. If it's anything west of Kitchener-Guelph, that 10th team goes into that division, and then everybody else into an east division. If it's anything east of Kitchener-Guelph, you put Brantford into that west division, and that 10th team goes in with everybody else.
I couldn't agree more.
That went into the dirt. They're not going to throw. So it is a 2-2 count. It's Brendan Luther, a home run and a single. Andy Vargas coming out of the ball game, going 3 1/3, roughed up in this one, facing 25 batters. The 3-2, and a walk issued yet again. Loading the bases yet again. A big inning here for the Jackfish. And they're having some fun.
Yeah, the Panthers just can't seem to get out of this 4th inning. It's 9 runs in the inning for the Jackfish, who just keep pouring it on. And struggling with finding the strike zone are the Panthers pitchers.
Now missing outside, 1-0. Oh, big question is, we've seen it in this ballpark, these high-scoring innings. Wasn't too long ago, Panthers put 13 or 14 on the board against Brantford on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it's such a hitters-friendly park. You really never say that any lead's safe. I think this one might just be, but you do never know here.
Put on the ground, and into right field it goes. Add another one on the board. A misstep. It goes to the fence. Another run comes across. Could it be 3? Yes, it will. 11 turns to 14. We're going football scores here on a Thursday night.
Nothing can go right here for the Panthers. That ball just gets under the glove, goes all the way back to the wall, allowing a couple more runs to score.
Catcher number 23,
It's getting out of hand here at Jack Couch's. Welland up 2 touchdowns.
It is a 14-0 lead, as Mateo Porcelato gets all the way over to third. Robert Mullen, the batter. Another hot hitter at the dish. There's a strike.
Already with a home run in this inning.
This is one of those ones, if you're a social media manager for the Kitchener Panthers, you're putting something out as that one's put up high. It is playable. Penalve will get underneath it and make the catch. Just 2 away here on the 4th as Porcelato makes it 15-0.
The Jackfish just scoring runs in every which way. You saw Mullen hit his league-leading 7th home run of the year earlier in the inning, and there he drives in another run with the deep fly ball, and it's a rout here at Jack Couch.
So officially, Porcelato did get the single. He advanced over because of the error to the right fielder. That put him all the way at third, as there's a strike on Jake Sanford. "15 runs across on 12 hits. Just the one error charged against the Fish. That one's fouled back. In this inning alone, there have been 2 errors charged to the Panthers.
Yeah, and that ground ball to second base might have been good enough for a double play to get them out of this.
Down low, and it's going to be a 2-2 count. So while the score is where it's at, folks, let's just, you know what, let's continue the conversation. If you have questions for us, why not, as that one's going to bounce in the dirt. If you have questions for us, let's fill in the gaps and get this to be an interactive broadcast as this game goes along. Hit us up with your questions in the chat. If I don't get to them, tune into the IBL Inside Pitch podcast. Myself, Neil Srivastava, Braden Farrington with you every Tuesday. If we don't get to your question tonight, maybe we'll fill in and put those questions on the pod, as there's another walk.
Brett Reed really struggling to find the strike zone. He's up to 28 pitches with 16 of those being balls.
We are nearly at a point where we have batted through the order not once, but twice. This is the 16th batter for the Welland Jackfish here in the 4th. To the plate it goes, right at belt level for strike 1. Now maybe you have a question about our new scoreboard. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2. Here you see it right in front when you get to that shot of the outfield from the outfield camera, our main shot. You'll see the brand new Panthers illuminated logo. That one missing on the outside, 1-2.
Yeah, some real slick additions to the ballpark here, and we were looking over at the batting cages earlier on, and everything is looking really good here at Jack Couch.
Brandon Hoope, home run and a single here tonight. Puts that one up high, deep into center field, calling for it, and that one is going to drop for another base hit. Hoope is 3 for 4, including 2 for 2 in this inning alone.
I think he just lost track of that one. Penalve in center field, he just kind of waved his arms. He lost it right off the bat, and it drops in.
Got a chime in from the Welland Jackfish official account. You know, what else is new here at the Jack? I mean, obviously the scoreboard, you have the illuminated sign. There are going to be a lot of different additions as the weeks in the season and the next couple of seasons goes along. I believe there's a multi-year project in the works. They want to revamp the digs that we're currently sitting in here as well. It's an 0-1 count here on Grayson Barrett. Got a new bleacher. Stadium seating is also in the works to put here as well. Just trying to get, as there's the strikeout, just trying to modernize the ballpark here at Jack Couch as we head to the middle part of this inning, mercifully after a number of runs put on the board. 13 runs on the board for the Welland Jackfish. Ryan, I know it's you putting in on the Welland Jackfish. Tell me if that is an inning record for you guys for the Welland Jackfish. 13 runs on the board in one inning. It is something to behold, to say the very least. 15 runs, 12 hits, 1 error on the board. Yeah, what more can be said about that inning?
Yeah, that was just Jackfish baseball right there. They got it done in so many different ways. You saw a home run, you saw some small ball, and it was impressive stuff. And the Panthers just couldn't seem to get out of the inning, kind of getting in their own way a little bit with a couple costly errors. One play that possibly could have been a double play that got bobbled, and then another that went right back to the wall.
It's a rough night at the ballpark, to say the very least, here for the Kitchener Panthers. Down 15 bagel.
You saw the Panthers put up a similar number earlier in the season in one inning, and that's what happens here at Jackfish. It's a hitters-friendly park, and sometimes it goes both ways where you have both teams duking it out. And you know, I had that one game that was a 11-10 battle between London and the Panthers, I believe, but this one's just been all Jackfish. 15 runs in the game, and the entire order getting it done.
The entire order has gone through not once but twice in that inning. Count them, 18 batters for the Welland Jackfish. You know, what more can you say about this team? 10-1 on the year. Their run differential miles above everybody else in the Intercounty Baseball League. I think when they got eliminated last season in the semifinals to the Guelph Royals, I think something happened. I think something awakened, and this team came into 2025 and said, you know what? We want that championship, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it with authority, as that one is put into foul territory.
Yeah, they're certainly making a statement early on in this season. 7-0 coming into this one on the road, and just one loss, which came at home to London, but really just no blemishes for them.
Now, I'm not too sure how much time actually passed with that inning, but I want to get to Teo Ortega here, who got plenty of rest on that bench. You know, it can work for you, it can work against you, but we'll see how it goes as this inning progresses. It is a 2-1 count. You know, maybe I'll get your opinion on this. How do you, as a pitcher, you know, come back out? Yes, you have a whole lot of run support to work with. There's a chopper. We'll get to that in just a moment. Throw over to first in time. They'll get Mandalay. You know, as a pitcher, how do you stay in tune, stay, more importantly, warmed up after that?
Yeah, it's got to be tough, right? You're sitting there for so long, especially, that's kind of unprecedented that you've seen, a 13-run inning, the orders going through a couple of times. So for that, it's kind of just, you have to rely on what you've got and try to stay loose as much as possible. We don't have the greatest view of their dugout over there, but I'm sure he was doing some exercises and stretches throughout, because you don't want that shoulder to get cold, and especially when you're this early into a game, they're probably expecting him to go a couple more innings.
Well, I think it's a blessing too, because again, as we've touched on a couple of times here tonight, here's the 0-1 swing, and he gets a piece of it to make it 0-2. They've played twice this week already, playing Tuesday, playing Wednesday. They play tonight. If anything, this is an opportunity where Ortega can, they can shut it down. And heck, do you throw in a position player to get you an inning or two with this amount of run support to give you a little bit of rest going into the weekend, as there's strike number 3 to retire Penalve?
It certainly doesn't look like he got too cold.
I don't think so.
Another batter. He has really brought it today. We've been talking so much about the offense for obvious reasons with 15 runs on the board, but man, Ortega has been brilliant.
Junior Ibarra, the batter, reached on an error back in the second. First pitch he sees, he'll foul that one back. Someone else chiming in, if I could design my own uniform, home, away, alternates, what kind of design, what kind of colors would I go for? I'd have to think about that one. There's a chopper in the infield. Bounces over the glove and off of Weisner's glove, in fact, going into the outfield, and that'll be a base hit for Junior Ibarra, I am sure.
Yeah, that was a tough ball to grab there at short. It took a extreme hop, but if I'm designing a jersey, last night I was sitting on the bench at beer league hockey, and the opponents were the Mallards, and they had this very nice cream colored jersey, and I actually said I love that look of the jersey, and we were talking about different teams that kind of incorporate that cream color into their jerseys, and I think that I would do something with that. Some of the MLB's different jerseys this season have been nice. My favorite was the Reds City edition not long ago, but you see some really nice jerseys here in the IBL as well. Welland has that nice one with the rose on it, I believe.
Yeah, they did that one last night.
Yeah, that's I really like that throwback, I believe. I really like that jersey, and I like when teams get creative with it. I like when players get creative with things. You've seen different colored bats. You've seen I've seen the pencil bat before and stuff like that. I love when players get creative. Show your personality.
The one thing I am going to say that if a jersey is designed properly, as that one's put out of play, if you are designing a jersey, whether you're in this league or in other leagues, I ask just one question. Think of the broadcasters. Yeah. Because if we cannot see the numbers, if we cannot see even the nameplate, it is a heck of a time trying to figure out who is who. And the scorekeepers as well. Think of the other people that are doing the job as there is strike 3. And as Charlie Towers strikes out, we are going to throw to break. 5th inning upcoming. 15-0 Jackfish. Stay with us. This is Panthers TV on YouTube, brought to you by Rogers.
After the bottom of the 4th for the Panthers, no run.
Hardline drive up the middle. Oh, Lindor out of nowhere. How did he do that?
That Lindor can play. I don't know about that hair. And don't get me started on those gloves.
If you have program number 13, $25.
Oh, no. I kind of like it.
It's time for a revolution. The Ref 1X by Rollins.
Gift card to Fireside Diner. And if you have program number 9, you win a large pizza from Domino's. You can go pick up those prizes downstairs. And fans, we also have the 50-50 number. Get those tickets ready. I know you've been waiting for this. The winning number for the 50-50 number is 30337-247. Again, winning number is 30337.
Welcome back to Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers. Mark Pare here in the broadcast booth alongside Justin Holmes, getting set for the top of the 5th. What did the Jackfish have for an encore? 13 runs on the board in the last inning. A new catcher coming into the ball game here for the Kitchener Panthers, Ayad Ansari, who was signed last week by the Panthers. He came in to pinch run for Junior Ibarra in the last inning while we were in the midst of our jersey chatter. So Ayad Ansari will take over, and no surprise, Justin, as Pete Kiefer utilizing a lot of his personnel here and just trying to get even some of his newer guys some reps.
Yeah, that's exactly it, especially when you have a busy schedule. You're wanting to get a look at some of these other guys, see what they can do, and when you're not getting as many at-bats, and it's good to get these guys into the game, get them a feel, because you never know. You might have a guy that's sitting on the bench swinging a hot bat, and it's a good chance to give other guys a break, especially a catcher like Ibarra, who kind of gets beaten up so much behind the plate. You're constantly taking foul balls and such.
Sam Cocker, the batter, takes one well inside. That nearly hit him. 2-0 count. Ansari catching for Brett Reed, still in the game.
What the hell's that camera facing?
It'll be curious to see as well for the Welland Jackfish if manager Brian Essery says that one's well inside yet again. If Brian Essery starts to utilize his bench a little bit more.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's the case. They've had an even busier schedule than the Panthers, so you're going to want to let some of those veteran guys take a seat.
And there's a 4-pitch walk issued to Cocker. to start off the inning. Now I have to answer my own question. As we see Tyson Gom come up, what kind of jersey would I design? I mean, I am all about the sleek black. I love the Panthers away jerseys. I don't know. I'd have to go into my show, create a team kind of thing there, and see what I can work with.
I like that.
Delivery to the plate. That one's put in play down the left field line. That's going to be a fair ball, but it is going to be caught by Trent Lawson.
It's another one of those balls that if that wind was howling, it might have got carried out of here, but they get lucky, and there's barely any wind here tonight, and that one just a easy fly out and get the first out of this 5th inning.
Well, at dead center, the flag's not even moving in dead center field. So the wind, albeit the wind was howling quite a bit earlier on today.
Yeah, it's been kind of all over the place. We were trying to do our pregame interview. My hair was blowing in my eyes, and it was causing us some troubles.
Our backstop with all of our logos and whatnot.
It was almost blowing away. I guess another new addition for us here is, even just for this game, is we've got the fancy new backstop.
2-0 counts. Neil Srivastava in the chat. I know he doesn't like the limelights. I hope the wrench is off of his name here tonight. The 2-0 coming here. That one's going to clip the strike zone for strike one. I know he doesn't like the limelight. It's my co-host on the IBL Inside Pitch letting us know that some new additions being worked on for the IBL merch shop. Can head on to the official IBL website to get on some merch. Looking for the double play. They'll get one over to first. They got it. The Panthers face the minimum as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. And it remains a 15-0 score. And let me tell you, that's a breath of fresh air if you're a Kitchener Panthers fan.
Yeah, you could almost hear the sigh of relief come from the crowd there. Able to turn two, and Towers doing a good job of putting that air behind him. It's got to feel good to get that quick inning after a, let's just say, lengthy last inning.
Yeah, lengthy is putting it lightly. So no runners stranded, and that's actually the first time that's happened tonight for the Welland Jackfish, stranding 7 runners on base for the first 4 innings. And again, all right, bottom of the 5th upcoming here, and again, what's to be said that hasn't been said already? It's just a beautiful Thursday night here in the Intercounty Baseball League. Let's take a look out of town, shall we? There is one other game happening in the Intercounty Baseball League. It is in Barrie. The Brantford Red Sox are in town to face the Bay Cats. It is a 3-2 lead, Barrie over Brantford. It was 3-0 for the Bay Cats after the 3rd, but a pair of runs added by the Brantford Red Sox in the top of the 4th make that a 1-run ball game. All right, bottom 5 here at Jack Couch Park. Game well out of hand. And if you're the Kitchener Panthers here, this is, if anything, if you can climb into the this lead and try to make a game of it, sure. We have seen them put on runs by the dozen in this ballpark so far this season. But, a lot easier said than done. Steve Cochran takes one off the mask. Again, easier said than done when you're taking on the Welland Jackfish. All due respect to the Brantford Red Sox. This is the Welland Jackfish we're talking about. But if anything, if you can start putting runs on the board here, this is one of those situations where you can take some late game momentum and carry them into your next couple of games.
Yeah, there's a couple different things. You want to get some confidence in your own swing. Even if this game's out of hand, you can kind of use it as, practice in a way. You can, these are real at-bats against an elite pitcher who you're probably going to see more of this season. And this is one of the best pitchers that you're going to see this season. So if you can get it going against a guy like him, you can get a little bit more confidence and hopefully carry that into the next game. But man, has he ever been dealing today.
Another strikeout for Teo Ortega, make it 8 on the night. And you talked about it with the Kitchener Panthers when you factor in their 2 games against the Guelph Royals where you had to find that consistency. You had to find that ability to get your pitching and your batting working. For the Welland Jackfish, their offense is working. Teo Ortega is dealing. Just another night in the office for the league-leading team.
Yeah, they're doing what they've been doing all season. They have the pitching and the offense both humming, where for the Panthers, on the flip side, really neither going for them tonight.
A.J. Carosis, the batter, struck out swinging back in the second. And that'll clip the inside of the strike zone. Someone chiming in about if we can move the backstop forward to add more seating in front here at Jack Couch. Just an effort to perhaps expand the seating capacity here at the ballpark. Realistically, you look at the amount of space, maybe, sure. But I think there's a lot of construction that gets involved with that too, and a lot of, grants and, a lot of conversations that you're going to have with the city. And keep this in mind too, that Kitchener Panthers aren't the only one that use this ballpark, as Carosis goes down on strikes. Yet another strikeout for Ortega. Make it 9 on the evening.
I can tell you one person that would really like that. It would be the catchers from both teams.
I think so.
Yeah, Ibarra, you saw the couple wild pitches earlier. They go far away. It's a pretty big backstop here, so those guys would definitely like that.
And one other thing that maybe a catcher would like is having an active backstop. Perhaps if you get a ball that doesn't die on the fence, if you will, maybe you have that bounce come all the way back like you would see at, say, Hastings Stadium in Guelph just up the road. You have that active backstop. It bounces off the wall, comes right back to you. Less running, and, you might be able to get a couple of extra outs that way when guys are trying to steal.
Yeah, that's a lot of ground to cover as a catcher when that ball's just dying and hitting the ground, and then sometimes you're seeing it hit the pole and kind of go wild on them. It all of a sudden bounces super unpredictable, so it definitely makes their job tough. It's one of the toughest jobs in all of baseball.
Well, it's Trent Lawson, the batter, 2 away here in the 5th. The 3-0 in for a strike. No, it isn't. Didn't make the sign, so it is a walk issued with 2 away, and Trent Lawson gets on for the first time tonight. Now, as I mentioned before, other teams do use this ballpark, most notably the 2 university clubs in town, Wilfrid Laurier, University of Waterloo. You have the 22U Panthers that also use this ballpark. So there's a lot of different personnel and a lot of bodies that could be in on that conversation as well. What do they think about changes? Okay, if you make that one change, okay, what else can we do? It creates such an expansive conversation on the possibilities of what this ballpark looks like that you can't just make one change here, get one permit here, one permit there. Ideally, you kind of want to maybe group it in a little bit more and, make it a staged plan, kind of like what the Panthers are doing, just on their own here with, again, the new scoreboard, the sign in front of the broadcast booth here sponsored by Rogers. That one's put into play, down, in, it'll drop. Right against the fence it goes. Lawson circling around. He's going to get the wave home. They're going to test the arm. It's going to come in, not in time, and the Panthers are on the board. The shutout bid is broken, and it's 15-1. The fans give them a round of applause. That is Lucas Lefebvre.
That's got to feel
who
good
will
for him.
get it done.
That's got to feel good against his former team. You see him chatting out there at second base, and he does a great job to get one into the gap, and it was great aggressive base running by Lawson to be able to score, and maybe there's a little bit of confidence for the Panthers.
And to note as well, that is Lucas Lefebvre's first career IBL hit. So his first career hit, his first career RBI. So congratulations to Lucas Lefebvre, the former Jackfish, putting one on the board on his former team. 2-1 count here on Yosuke Fuji. Or rather, it is 1-0. It is 2-1. The delivery.
There we go.
Ortega is such a competitor. You can see him kind of upset with himself. Lost the strike zone a little bit there, and he doesn't care that they have the 15-1 lead. He wants to go out there and deal.
That one's fouled off of the mask, and actually I think it hit the umpire as well, as you see Mullen quickly check in on him. Good guy, that Robert Mullen.
Yeah, we've been talking about how much those catchers get beat up.
Well, he understands. If anybody understands, it's that catcher.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-2 count with 2 away. Swing and a miss. Now it's 2-2. There was 2-2 on the board. Now it's 2-2.
Fuji struck out twice today, so
again, folks, we're doing about 3 different jobs in here, so bear with us. The 2-2 put out of play. Yosuke Fuji, pair of strikeouts here tonight. Glad you can join us on this Thursday night, no matter where you are, folks. I'll try again, the 2-2. Upstairs, 3-2.
It's been a great at-bat from Fuji, really making Ortega work.
Well, getting that pitch count elevated. We'll try again. Swing and a miss. He got him. Another strikeout for Tio Ortega. He has hit double digits in that category. 10 strikeouts. And a pair. One run does come across, but a runner is stranded. Unbelievable job here yet again by Teo Ortega. He is absolutely dealing. To the 6th we go. But we're going to send things to field level with McKenna. She's got a couple of guests.
All right, Panthers fans, we're going to be playing Dizzy Bat. So I have McKenna with me and Harsh. Basically, they are going to have their foreheads on the baseball bat on the ground. They're going to spin around 4 times. When they're done, they're going to run along the grass to third base. Then they're going to high-five Emily. Whoever does it first wins a City of Kitchener swim pass. Are we ready? Awesome. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. I think we have a clear winner here. Sorry, McKenna. Harsh congratulations. You win the City of Kitchener Swim Pass. Do we have a round of applause for our winner?
Good job. Enjoy that City of Kitchener Swim Pass.
Did you enjoy that
Heating up.
dizzy bat? Would you be a dizzy bat kind of aficionado?
I've played.
Do you kind of get dizzy?
I've played dizzy bat a time or two before, and I always seem to just face plant. That was impressive. They both stayed on their feet, not me. I would have been. You would have found me in the Panthers dugout somehow.
All right, someone else chiming in. Top 6. Getting started here at Jack Couch Park. Brendan Luther is the batter. Someone asking me if there were some trees recently taken down in right center. I feel like you can see Ottawa Street traffic a lot more than in the past. Well, I can tell you that there has been a little bit of trimming, but in that area, very specifically, I don't believe there actually has been any trees in that direct vicinity. So in right field, there's a couple of houses, a couple of homes, and then there's that empty open grass area as you turn on or off the highway, right where the sign is when you get off of the highway here. That has been free and clear of trees for quite a bit. It just seems a little bit more open, if you will.
Yeah, easier to see the traffic too in these night games and not as well lit outside of the park. So.
That'll be foul back, 1-2. Well, if you do enjoy your time here in Kitchener, you can head on down here to Jack Couch, get your tickets for any future Kitchener Panthers home game. KitchenerPanthers.com/tickets. 2-2 count here on Brendan Luther.
He's had himself quite the day.
Yeah, he's walked twice. He's come around to score 3 different times, a single and a home run. Swing and losing the baseball. Throw over to first, and they got him.
Right fielder number 10, Mateo Porcelato.
A good throw over to first base.
That was a nice play by Applovich there. I think he might have got inserted into the game. We didn't catch that, but a great play by him to scoop that one up.
An excellent job as Applovich comes in for Korosis. Again, as we talked about, not surprised whatsoever to see what we're seeing here, where Pete Kiefer is digging into the bench a little bit. So it will be a recorded strikeout here for Brett Reed. He's got 2 on the night. Chopper down the right field line is going to go foul. This is Mateo Porcelato. 2 for 4 tonight. Has an RBI. Robert Mullen leading the pack. 4 RBI on the evening. That one downstairs.
Looks like he might not have been satisfied with just winning May Player of the Month. He might be going for June as well.
He might be. That one's fouled back yet again. Now keep in mind that there were a couple of errors in that 4th inning, so there's a reason why the RBI counts are a little bit down from where you kind of expect them to be, although when you add it all up, you have 10 RBI officially on the board at this juncture for the Welland Jackfish of the 15 runs. The 3-2, and he got him.
Good job in this inning by Reed to settle in. You know, he was struggling with finding the strike zone in that big 4th inning for the Jackfish, and a lot of walks surrendered from him, but now seeming to be settling back in, which is something that the Panthers would like to see.
Well, the aforementioned Robert Mullen will step up to the dish here, as that was Matteo Porcelato striking out.
There's a little bit of movement over in the Panthers bullpen, and it's like Caleb Kane-Plante, one of those arms that's stretching out.
You know, maybe one of the things that they're going to do out in right field, hey, maybe you put some seating out there, maybe you buy some land.
That would be awesome.
Catch a home run ball. Oh, maybe put some scenery out there.
I do see a couple fans out in right field.
I mean, that's kind of the usual spot there. That one's on the other side of a locked fence that kind of goes into an enclosed area. That's land that's not owned by the Panthers or the organization here. Not really accessible all that much, but you know, the fans in behind there, just nearby residents, are able to get up on some sort of platform that is out there. It is a 2-1 count, 3-1 count by my math here for Robert Mullen. It's a good place to take in some baseball on a Thursday night.
Yeah, they're playing some catch out there. I don't know if maybe that's one of the home run balls. And
there's a home run ball. Robbie Mullen goes yard yet again. That one a no doubter on the Highway 7. 17-1 or 16-1 for the Welland Jackfish.
Well, the fans can go collect another home run ball. That one might be hard to find, though, as it was hit a mile.
And I try not to overemphasize in a 16-1 game. It's not really kosher if you're a broadcaster, to say the very least. But just the amount of power that he took on that baseball.
Yeah, you could hear it.
You feel the muster. You feel the power from that. And Robert Mullen continues to do Robert Mullen things.
Maybe he heard us saying that he wants June Player of the Month, and he said, yeah, I do.
Well, he knows he's got some friends in high places that could help him get there. But he's got to do the work anyway.
Helping his case, 2 home runs. That's
chopper in the infield. Fielded there by Mandalay over to first. Or rather, that is A.J. Karosis that has moved over. There's a whole lot of switcherooing happening on the defensive side here for the Kitchener Panthers. That is a 6-3 on the putout. And again, welcome back inside the broadcast booth here, sponsored by Rogers, Mark Pare, and Justin Holmes here with you. Danny Dominguez chiming in. Robert Mullen on pace for 28 home runs this season. It is just something to behold, folks. Robert Mullen, 8 home runs already on the year. What more can he say?
Seriously,
what more?
Yeah, he's brought it in every aspect of the game. For a catcher to have that kind of power and do it on such a regular basis is just so impressive. Any team would, die to have that player in their roster, and he's showing it off today.
Well, I think he's trying to make a case for IBL MVP at this point.
Yeah, we're early in the season, but man, when you're hitting 8 home runs in such a short time frame, how can you not be the front runner?
So this brings the conversation, and I'm glad Dan brought that up with Mullen's pace for home runs. Looking at the single season records for home runs in the IBL, thanks again to our friends at the league to put this together. The league record for home runs in a season was Sean Riley back in 2013. He was with the Leafs at the time, 21 home runs that year. Justin Gideon at 19 in 2022 was with the Welland Jackfish at that point in time. I believe that's the year that he split time between them and Hamilton. Sean Riley and Randy Curran, both with 17 home runs in their respective seasons, 2017 and 1993, respectively. Seth Strong had 16 home runs just last year for Chatham-Kent. Tyler Duncan had 16 in 2023 as part of his MVP season. Robert Mullen, I think, is trying to make his case to put himself into that conversation to be among the best hitters in the IBL and, have a single season to remember.
Yeah, he's putting his name up in there, and we might have a new name in those ones you listed. It was Mullen back in 2022 when he was with London that put up 125 total bases, which is the second most in league history. So that's another one that he might have a chance at getting.
So there's a conversation happening. We're in the bottom of the sixth. That is Klaus Appelvich that is up to bat here for the Kitchener Panthers. And there's a whole lot of substitutions that have happened for the Welland Jackfish. We will get you caught up on that in just a moment. Because Marchese, some people say it's Marchese, but he comes in at first base. Tyson Gom has moved over to catcher. Feuersteak is in for Teodoro Ortega, as Ortega closes the door on yet another solid outing. 10 strikeouts in 5 innings of work, just 3 hits given up.
Yeah, and they really didn't get to him at all until that last inning, putting up that 1 run, but he was dominant throughout, just sitting batters down constantly. It was a really impressive outing from a elite pitcher in this league.
So Appelvich facing a 2-1 count. And I am glad that they have the walkie-talkies. It's a new feature that we have here in the ballparks in the IBL, mandated to have walkie-talkies in each of the dugouts, as that one's going to go in for a strike, to communicate with the scorekeepers to let them know of substitutions. But when you're making as many substitutions that you are, sometimes it is a lot to try to collect and fathom, if you will.
Yeah, we kind of saw this a couple Sundays ago against when Pare was in town. A lot of junior players getting a shot, and once again, you're seeing that teams wanting to give their veterans some rest while also seeing what some of these young guys can do.
And someone correcting me here, it's not on the IBL page for single season records, as that one's put down the line. Base hit for Appelvich. He's going to stretch this out to 2. It's a long way, and he gets in there standing up. Remember, Tanner Nivens had 17 home runs one year. And Dan reminding Neil on here, Sean Riley had 17 for Toronto, 4 of them, 4 for Guelph as well. Well, if you want the Kitchener Panthers single season records, just go to our main website, KitchenerPanthers.com. It's under the History tab for single season records. And there it is right there. 3 different 17 home run seasons. Randy Curran in 93, Sean Riley in 2015, Tanner Nivens a year later in 2016. Riley and Nivens also went toe-to-toe. 2014, 15 home runs each. One-0 count makes it 1-1 now on Yasvani Penalve. Ayad Ansari is on deck. He took over for Junior Ibarra earlier on in this game, came on as a pinch runner. Down at the knees for a strike. Penalve 0 for 2 tonight. as Fiora delivers that one, and he'll get called off by the first baseman to record the outs.
Now batting for the Panthers, catcher.
Again, that is another substitution by the Jackfish. That is Marchese. That is out there. So Penalve retired on the the 3 unassisted. It moves Applovich over to third. Fiora Stake from Waterdown, the lefty. 4th year in the IBL. 4th year with the Welland Jackfish. Came on in 2019. Took a couple of years off while he was playing elsewhere in the world. Came back to the Jackfish in 2023. Also played for McPherson as a collegiate player in 22 and 23. That's a chopper. Fielded over to first in time. Marchese gets the glove. And Sari gets a sacrifice hit. Count that as an RBI to make it 16-2.
It was a great job by him to just get that ball in play, knowing that the runner was on third, and Applovich able to score.
Shortstop number 7, Charlie Towers.
So that'll bring up Charlie Towers. Two away here in the 6th inning as Towers takes one well inside. Towers 0 for 2 tonight. It's a 2-0 count. Delivery well inside as Towers ducks out of the way. And it's a 16-2 ball game. If you're just joining us, the Jackfish scoring 13 of those 16 runs just in the 4th inning. Rough day at the office here for the Kitchener Panthers as the Welland Jackfish continue to roll, but it is a walk that'll be issued to Charlie.
Yeah, the Panthers just couldn't escape that inning. It's 13 runs in one inning, and they've only scored 3 in the other innings. I say only because they put up such a crooked number in that one, but they brought it.
Nico Kairos watches that one paint the outside of the black for strike number 1.
Kairos DHing today, had a double earlier in this one.
The 0-1 in for a strike. Any more questions from the fans that are tuning in on the live chat? Love to hear from you. Still got a few innings left to go in this one, and love to include you all in the conversation. Don't forget you can follow us anytime for the Kitchener Panthers, as that one's going to get way up high, a wild pitch, allowing Charlie Towers to advance to second base. Follow us anytime at IBL_Panthers. You can get that on X or Twitter for those that are so inclined. Instagram as well. Kitchener Panthers also on Facebook. 2-2 counts. And while you're at it, while you're on this live chat, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Get the old algorithms going. We all love algorithms these days, and Fiera Steak likes that one. That's strike 3 to put an end to the 6th inning. It is the Welland Jackfish 16, the Kitchener Panthers 2. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll have the 7th inning for you here at Jack Couch Park. Stay with us. This is Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers.
Get ready, Hamilton. It's the 2025 IBL Home Run Derby and All-Star Game. Hosted by the Hamilton Cardinals at beautiful Bernie Arbor Stadium. Watch the league's top sluggers crush moonshots in the Derby. Then see the best of the best go head-to-head under the lights in the All-Star Game. Grab your tickets now at HamiltonCardinals.com, because this summer, the stars shine brightest in Hamilton.
Leading off the top of the 7th for the Jackfish, center fielder number 21, Brandon Houpe.
Brandon Houpe will step in here for the Welland Jackfish. We welcome you back inside Jack Couch Park. This is Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers. Mark Pare, Justin Holmes here with you. What is the longest home run I can recall seeing while broadcasting? Which park, which player, and approximately how far do you think it went? I mean, that's a tough one. I've called quite a few home runs in this ballpark. I don't know, Raul Gonzalez might be up there for me a couple of years ago. I know he hit a moonshot deep over the scoreboard. I think that one probably hit the highway, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm pretty sure he hit the highway on that one. It's a 1-2 count here on Brandon Houpe.
I think I know mine. I'm a little bit newer to the game than you, so I haven't seen as many, but it was just a couple weekends ago, Ryan Rio with his bachelor party here watching, and he hit one so far, a no-doubter, the big bat flip and all.
And unable to grab onto that one was Appelvich, and getting on safely is Houpe. From what I'm seeing here, it is Yosuke Fuji over at third base. Charlie Towers has moved over to shortstop. AJ Karosis is the second baseman. It'll be an error charged to Appelvich on that last play. And you know what? While we're at it, as that one's a moonshot high, Grayson Barrett. I got some bad news for you, Kitchener Panthers fans. That is another pair of runs on the board. The Welland Jackfish with 18 runs. A 2-run home run for Grayson Barrett.
You want to talk about some of the longer home runs we've seen?
That one's up there.
That thing was hit just as high as it went far. It was an absolute moonshot. He gave quite the bat flip after that one, too.
That's one of those home runs where you think of the people living on Ottawa Street just into right field and wonder how much their insurance is on for their houses.
Yeah, you don't want one of those ones coming through your front window, because that thing was hit quite hard and quite far.
Sam Cocker will come in here now. 18-2. One swing of the bat equaling the output the Kitchener Panthers have outputted all night. Downstairs, and they're going to say he didn't go around.
That's weird.
We talked about it in the pregame, how you didn't want to give the Jackfish anything else. You didn't want to give them any extra bases or, walks, and that's kind of been the issue for the Panthers. They've walked a lot of guys, and then you've seen 3 really costly errors from the Panthers. That one there costing them another run. So it's hard when you got a team that's swinging the bat so well, and then you're giving them extra guys on base. All of a sudden it's a 2-run shot instead of a solo shot, and you get yourself into some trouble. And the Jackfish are just a very, very good team, and they're pouring it on.
Meantime, a lot closer game news. The Barrie Baycats with an 8-5 lead on the Brantford Red Sox. It was 8-2 as there's a swing and a miss. As it was 8-2, but Brantford scored 3 in the 7th to make it 8-5. Put down the line, that's a fair ball. Sam Cocker will get on with a long single. He's not thinking double. He'll just take what he is given, and he'll stay at first.
Okay.
Catcher, number 25, Tyson Braun.
Cocker continues his really good day, collecting yet another base.
Also out of town scoreboard, Stanley Cup final action tonight. It is Game 4 in Sunrise. It is not a blowout, unlike what we saw in game number 3 of that series. End of 2, the Edmonton Oilers 3, the Florida Panthers 3. As the Panthers, they scored 3 in the first. What do the Oilers do? They score 3 in the second period. So a 3-0 lead for Florida. It is now even at 3-3 as the Florida Panthers leading the Stanley Cup final 2-1.
Boy, do I ever want to see Edmonton bring one back to Canada.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to think that, brother.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a Stanley Cup champion from Canada since 1993. It's been a long time since Les Habitants with Patrick Waugh in the net lifted Lord Stanley. And it came just at the tail end of an era where it just seemed like Canada was bringing home the cup every other year. 2-2 count. Gom puts it into the outfield, and it's going to drop. It's going to go underneath. That's Wander Santana out there in left field, and getting over to third safely is Sam Cocker. And the Jackfish just continuing to put their foot on the gas pedal. They don't care that it's 18-2. They're going to stretch that guy from second base over to third anyway. And it's all about habits, I'm thinking, at the end of the day, for Brian Essery.
Yeah, exactly. You want to stay in that same mindset no matter what the score is.
Back to the top of the order, this is Jonah Weisner, another batter who is having himself quite a night. 2 for 5 with an RBI, hitting .351 as of this at-bat. Skies one high. This is deep to right center, and that's got some distance. It is gone. The Jackfish have blackjack. 21 on the board here on a Thursday night.
They've certainly had all the luck in the world here tonight. They are hitting everything out of this park, and this is impressive stuff from the Jackfish. You come into this game thinking, they're first place in the league. Maybe you can catch them on a down night because they've been playing so much baseball, and that's not the case whatsoever.
Things have just not been in the cards here for the Kitchener Panthers tonight as the Welland Jackfish put 5 on the board and counting here in the 7th. So you thinking that Ryan Rio home run was the longest you've seen?
I think it might have been, although that Barrett one earlier.
that one had some mustard to it. That one had some mustard, some honey mustard.
That was a towering shot.
So 21-2 is the score as Luther's going to put that one high and deep and over and grabbed on the run by Wander Santana.
Great play there by Santana to track that one down.
That equates to the first out of the inning. Stretch time only 2 outs away. But just a good effort there from Wander Santana as he just does not give up on the play.
Yeah, he's a true athlete out there in the outfield. We've seen him a couple times being brought into games, and he brings it.
Now, someone asking right now who is catching. Well, I can tell you that it was Junior Ibarra earlier on. He started the game, so that's going to go across for a strike. Ayad Ansari, the recent signee of the Kitchener Panthers, came on to pinch run in the 4th. He has been on catching duty since then. The 1-1 missing outside. A relative newcomer who's just trying to get used to his battery mates, if you will, to try to figure out, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, this is a good way to get some chemistry with those pitchers.
Foul back by Porchelato. Porchelato, a pair of singles, pair of strikeouts, came around to score once back in that monster 4th inning.
The Jackfish looking like they putting up another monster inning already with 5 here in this 7th inning and only 1 out.
The 2-2 right across for strike 3. Got him. 2 away here in the 7th.
First baseman, number 34.
Pair of outs.
We're not gonna get to see Mullen get the chance at the hat trick.
Well, someone was asking, has anyone hit 3? Has anyone hit 4? Famously, Eduardo De Olio in this ballpark for the London Majors hit 4 home runs in a game. That was just a couple of seasons ago. It was later on in the year. It was on a Sunday. My friend Mike Jarvis, I believe, was on the call with me for that game. Or he might have been scorekeeping. He was on the call, as he tells me and shakes his head.
I think if Mullen didn't get the chance to get some rest here, so much deserved rest, he might have had a shot at that the way he was swinging the bat.
Well, and he is especially deserving of the rest, not only for the output, but I mean the fact that he is a catcher. You like to give your catchers the rest where you can give it to them.
Yeah, you saw Ibarra get pulled earlier on in the game, and now Mullen. These guys, they take a lot of abuse behind the plate.
Marchese will put that one into play, a base hit.
"19 hits on the day for the Jackfish, and this lineup, it's relentless. You now got guys coming off the bench and still producing. The depth of this team is so impressive.
9th batter of the inning is Jake Sanford.
You thought their run differential was impressive before this game. Whew.
Well, again, you go back to the last 2 games. The last 2 that they've played, the Welland Jackfish absolutely blowing it out of the water against Guelph and Hamilton. So this shouldn't surprise you. There's a swing and a miss. It's a 1-1 count here on Jake Sanford. You go back 15-4 winners over Hamilton, who have been tough this year. And then Guelph, who is trying to rebound after back-to-back losses to Kitchener. Losing, they end up putting it on the Royals 10-4 at Hastings Stadium. And what you would probably call a revenge game, considering what happened last fall with the Royals putting out the Jackfish in 5 games, which I think awakened that beast, if you will.
Yeah, like the Jackfish's run differential, they're going to have a better plus sign for them than some teams have even scored runs. It's unprecedented what you're seeing from this team early on in the season, and you have to wonder, can they keep it going all year?
We'll have to see. And, there is still time, a little bit over a month until the transaction deadline. What else can this organization bring in? And, do you bring in more players? Do you tinker with what has been working oh so well? It's a 3-2 count, by the way. And even look at the guys that they don't even have in their lineup. In particular, guys that have been doing it on defense. As that one's a fair ball, but it's grabbed there by Applovich, and that'll retire the side. We'll continue this conversation right now as we head into stretch time. It is 21-2. As, again, it's another 5-run inning here for the Welland Jackfish. 19 hits on the board. It's quite the interesting game.
Yeah, it certainly has been. It's been interesting for the Jackfish. I'm sure the Panthers are just wanting this one to be over and done with. But Welland showing why they're the first place team. Their manager, Brian Essery, said it's all about their confidence for the club, and he knows how deep their lineup is. He's not surprised by their start, and he knows that they know how to win, and they're showing that today. Just absolutely pouring it on. So many home runs for them, and there were home runs that were hit so far out of this park. Like, there was a couple wall scrapers, but there was a couple that were just absolutely demolished.
There's a couple that you're probably wondering if there's going to be some phone calls to some windows and doors places around Waterloo region.
Yeah, those fans over in right field, I don't think are going to be finding any of the home run balls that Barrett or Mullen hit, that's for sure, because those things are deep, deep flies.
Oh, that one is probably inside the window of a vehicle that's traveling toward the 401 at this point.
Yeah.
But again, it's Thursday night here at the ballpark. We're in stretch time, and yeah. You know what? Let's do a little bit of homework assigning for the fans that are tuning in here. We do have quite a few of you still tuning in, and we love to have you here on the broadcast. I'm going to turn the question on you guys. What's the longest home run that you've ever seen in person? Not necessarily as a broadcaster, but just going to a ballpark as a fan. What's the most memorable home run that you've witnessed? Maybe it's not the longest, maybe it's not the hardest hit, but what is the most memorable home run that you've ever seen or experienced in person?
Yeah, it's a great question. Home runs can bring so many memories, walk-offs and such, so sometimes it's about the scenario, not how far it was hit.
Getting started for the bottom half of the 7th inning. Glad you can join us here on Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers, Mark Pare, and Justin Holmes with you in the booth as AJ Carosis will take strike one. Danny Howitt now the pitcher on the mound here for the Welland Jackfish. He takes over for Fiorastake.
We have one fan saying that they saw an upper decker at the Dome. Not many hitting the 500 level, and yeah, he's right. They're right. There's not many that are hit up there. I know a couple.
Maybe single digits, I would imagine, up to the 500 level.
Yeah, it can't be many. I was at a game not long ago, and we had one of those hotel rooms, and we were watching the Blue Jays batting practice, and there was one guy that
Were
hit
you
one.
the fan that caught that Baltimore player's throw?
So actually, we have a
that
good,
went viral.
So we saw that happen, and this game was against the Tigers.
So you were there for this?
No. So yeah, I was there. So what I was going to say was that Barger hit one up to the 500 level in the warm-ups. But then, so my family, we all got my dad the hotel room for his birthday, and we went there, and I started, because those hotel rooms, you get early access. So we were up there during the batting practice, and Miles Straw, Classe, and Lucas were just in the outfield, catching some fly balls. And so I started yelling down to them and kind of conversating with them, and the one Tigers bullpen pitcher wouldn't throw one. He kept saying no. So then we got
maybe
talking.
He just didn't have the arm for it.
Yeah, we were saying maybe he didn't want to injure it too, right, throwing straight up. But then Miles Straw started to give it a chance, and he probably threw 10 balls up at us, and he was getting visibly mad. He was, you would notice every time he missed, he'd kind of throw one down into the bucket and get frustrated, and then Classe would give it a try.
That's going to go deep into center field. Wander Santana taking over for Trent Lawson. That's 2 away. Continue your story, please.
So then Miles Straw, eventually he gets one, and it just hits my fingertips as I was leaning out. And then the next one he puts right into our hotel room. We didn't even catch it. It just went, and it hit the back wall of the room. So we ended up getting the ball, and my mom sent him a message on Instagram and said, "Thank you so much. You made our day." And he was nice enough to respond to that. It was a really class act from Miles Straw. So gained a lot of respect from me and my little niece, who actually just turned 1 today. She got to, it was her first game, so she got to take home the ball, and
I love
so it was
that.
it was a really great moment for us.
In the batter's box, Lucas Lefebvre, who hit an RBI double his last time up, and I love stories like that. I'll tell you about class acts. Jamie Campbell, one of the classiest guys you'll know, obviously host of Blue Jay Central. A couple of years ago was a Mother's Day game, and I actually went to the game. My mother, of course, living up in my hometown of Timmins, Ontario, where it gets a lot of airplay with Jamie Campbell, let's just put it that way,
Yep.
because of some time that he spent back in the 80s. He was working as a summer worker at Kettle Lakes Provincial Park down there for a couple of summers, so he knew Timmins very well. So that anytime you hear him say that a home run has been hit all the way to Timmins, that's the reason why.
Okay.
And he got to obviously visit up there early on in COVID, delivering supplies, and was really one of those core memories for him even later on in life here. I think he tells the story better than I do, but I'll remiss. The story is, it was Mother's Day, and she wasn't able to make it to the game, being 8 hours away. And I had tweeted that maybe I'm going to catch a baseball here for Mother's Day. What does Jamie Campbell do? DMs me and says, "Well, if you don't get a ball, send me your address. I'll send one her way." What do I get? I send him the information. I said, it's very nice of you to do, and sure enough, about a week later, I get a phone call from my mother up north, and sure enough, she got a baseball in the mail.
That's amazing.
Signed baseball.
Wow. Yeah, those are the feel-good stories that you love to see, and shows you, baseball can really bring everyone together.
It's a full count here on Lefebvre. So again, the Panthers will be on the road for the rest of the weekend. They will be back home next Thursday when the Hamilton Cardinals come to town. Maybe I'll finally get my pasta sauce from Jonathan Salazzo. The 3-2 is going to be put out of play. For those who don't know that story, again, IBL Inside Pitch. It's available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. We had Salazzo on during the off season. It was just a catch up, and we had a lot of fun with John. And he's doing some great things with the Hamilton Cardinals. And one of the things we started getting into was just chatter about, food and cooking and whatnot. And that one smacked over to third, over to first in time. We'll finish off that story after the break. Stay with us. 21-2 is the score. The Welland Jackfish running away and hiding with it here on a Thursday night. Stay with us. This is Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers.
Get ready for Panther Kong. We're going to head it down to McKenna.
All right, fans, it's that time of the game. We are playing Panther Pong. And we are here with our MVF, Most Valuable Fan, Jack. So basically how this is going to work is Jack try and get one of the balls into the bucket. If he can do that, everybody here is going home with a coupon for a free pizza courtesy of Domino's. Jack, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's see what you got.
13 pitches.
Oh, that was really close, Jack. Oh, that was really good. You know what? Let's just try one more time. I just feel it. I feel it for you, Jack.
So.
Okay? You know what? Jack, let's do it one more time. Let's do it. Oh, Jack, you know what? Because you've been so amazing today, do you think that everybody should go home with some free coupons for pizza? Jack says yeah, so that's what's happening. Thank you so much, Jack, our MVF.
All right, good job, Jack. You just made a lot of hungry people's nights. Now pitching for the Panthers, number 9, Caleb Kane-Blunt.
Welcome back to Panthers Baseball, brought to you by Rogers. We are on Panthers TV here on a Thursday night. The score line is what the score line is. Welland Jackfish well on their way to an 11-1 start to the season. Mark Pare, Justin Holmes, and just to quickly wrap up my sauce talk, if you will. Had the talk about food on the podcast, IBL Inside Pitch, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Sign up, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Do the same thing to the Panthers channel, too. Why not? Love to have you around and get those algorithms up. So, started talking about sauce, and he's the one that made the offer. Going to deliver some sauce next time we see you. Didn't actually get to see him because the first time Hamilton was supposed to visit here in Kitchener, it got rained out. Wasn't able to get him at that point in time. So I haven't actually seen the Hamilton Cardinals live. Meantime, our friend Neil Srivastava, who calls the Hamilton Cardinals on the regular, sent a message the other week showing the sauce in a jar. I believe it was a mason jar. And ever since then, I've just been increasingly jealous, thinking, you know what? Next Thursday, let's knock on wood that there's no weather delay, and that Salazzo shows up here with a mason jar full of pasta sauce in hand, and then I can have myself a good old pasta Friday night.
There you go.
Because I'm not going to load up on carbs at 11 o'clock at night. That one in play. Applovich coming over, and he can't make the catch. Anyway, you apparently had an encounter with an MLB All-Star at one point.
I did. I was pretty young at the time. I was probably about, 11 or 12, and I would love going down to the field, and I would always be there for foul balls and stuff, right?
One would.
Yeah, my parents thought I was a magnet for it, and so the one time I was standing right on where the corner was, and I was right there. And
here, 1 second, I should mention Caleb Kane-Blunt is now in the game for the Kitchener Panthers. Continue.
Two-way player. We got to see him the other day against Pare as well. And so it was warm-ups, and Vladdy Sr., when he was playing for Baltimore, hit a liner, and it got me straight in the forehead. Got taken to the medical room. They were giving me the concussion test. I thought it was cool. My mom was all worried, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm behind
that you're
the
getting
scenes.
Concussion protocol on you?
Yeah, I got the ball, too.
What year was this, sir?
This was a while back. I can't really remember. It was a hard line.
They had the dark room going for you at this point? Chopper in the infield. It's going to stay fair. Caleb Kane-Blunt over to first. Well, not in time. And that'll be an infield single.
It was a great try by Caleb there. He almost gets the runner, but just too quick. And
that was Brandon Hoope, who now has 3 singles and a home run tonight.
Continues his great day. And
so Vladdy Sr.
Yeah, he was on the back half of his career, but
still packed enough punch to catch you in between the eyes.
Yep.
That one upstairs for ball 1 here on Grayson Barrett, who hit a no-doubter last time he was up.
There was another time. It was plays for one of the teams that Vladdy Sr. played for. I was down there trying to catch foul balls, and Mike Trout runs over, and all these autograph hawks all close in on him, and I didn't have anything for him to sign. I was only wearing Blue Jays gear. So just 10-year-old me just stuck my hand out, shaked his hand, and said, "Nice to meet you, Mike," and that was it.
Wow. All right. Hey, sometimes it's all about the autograph. Sometimes it's just about the interaction.
Yeah, exactly. I'll remember it forever. And it was funny because he kind of looked at me like, "Is this kid crazy? Like, what? I'm not used to this." But
there's a swing and a miss for strike 2 on Barrett. Now, I've met quite a few in my career, just doing this and being in and around broadcast booths, in multiple different sports. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I get to broadcast for probably the best lacrosse team on the planet right now, the Six Nations Chiefs, playing Senior A lacrosse. I mean, when you have Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Lyle Thompson, Cody Jamieson, in net, 2 of the best goaltenders in lacrosse right now. Many of these are going to be players at the World Championships, whether they're representing the Haudenosaunee Nationals, Team Canada. Probably going to see him in LA in a couple of years. Chopper by Barrett down the line, foul. And again, it's not about getting. Hey, Dane Smith, led the league in points along with Josh Byrne. They were a dynamic duo as part of the Buffalo Bandits three-peat. I'm not looking for autographs. Just go and talk with them, and it's all about that shake of the hand, having that interaction. Barrett, grounder. They get the one at second, over to first, in time. They record the double play.
Yeah, and it's, like you were saying, sometimes these pro athletes, they're just one of us. I got lucky that I was at the Canadian Open on Friday, and Philip Knowles was walking off the green and bounced his ball, and it hit a rock and flung right towards me. So I stuck my foot out to try to stop the ball, and I almost wiped out right in front of him. So then I pick it up and hand it back to him, and then he goes, "Dude, you almost tore an ACL getting that thing. You keep it." And then I got to stand there for a couple minutes and ask him about how the course was playing and everything, and it was great. He was a really good guy, and it's nice to have those interactions with him.
I got some great advice early on in my broadcasting career, just even in my journalism career. Here's the 1-0 upstairs, 2-0 here on Sam Cocker. And it was Kevin Aioli, who works for Yahoo Sports. And I was working for Bleacher Report at the time. I was doing some work with them, back before they, really amped things up. That's another story for another day. I was in on some of those phone calls where they were talking about this kind of stuff, getting up to video, some of this animation stuff that they're doing now, and thinking to myself, are these guys crazy? And sure enough, they make it happen. You think about it, you think about it happening, and you put in the work. Sure enough, you can make it happen. There's the 3-1. But one of the conference calls that we had the one night was with Kevin Aioli of Yahoo Sports, and I asked him, I'm like, how do you kind of get over those jitters of, hey, oh my God, this is a celebrity in front of me. How do you kind of get off of that starstruck enough to be able to have this conversation? That's in play, and the catch is going to be made, and that'll be an out as we head to the bottom of the 8th with a 21-2 scoreline in favor of the Jackfish. Not going to take a break here, as we're just going to continuing on. And anyway, Kevin had told me this story that he remembers earlier on in his career. Actually, I think it might have been later on. I think he was a little bit longer in the tooth in his career at this point. But he remembers talking to Mike Tyson. And Iron Mike, as he's having this conversation, the one thing he's thinking to himself is that, this is Mike Tyson. Oh, my goodness. One of the best boxers of all time. But at the end of the day, he's just like me and you. But he's just got a higher profile job. Mm-hmm. That's really all it is at the end of the day. You're having so much success to the point where you're known so much that, you get a little bit starstruck, admittedly. And I think there are some, celebrities that are out there that all kind of have to, gasp at it and say, oh my goodness, this is so-and-so. But I think in that moment, it was taught to me early on that at the end of the day, these are just people just trying to do a job, get paid, make a living for themselves, and, just live life like you and I.
Exactly.
Just so happens different jobs have different celebrity status attached to it.
Yeah, exactly. If I was talking to Iron Mike, I'd be afraid I would get an iron right.
You'd be afraid of the tiger that's in the next room. But really, that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yep.
Bottom of the 8th upcoming here from Jack Couch. Glad he can join us. 21-2. The Jackfish leading. Much of their scoring came all the way back in the 4th as we recap that box score. 13 runs in the 4th inning alone put them to this point. They were up 15-0 at that point in time. It was 2-0 after the 3rd, and then that 4th inning, everything just went off the rails for the Kitchener Panthers, and everything stayed on the rails and just kept chugging along for the Welland Jackfish with 13 runs on the board. And, from there, it just continued on. That 13-run inning came with 18 batters going to the plate, going around the horn not once, but twice, 1 through 9. And it's just been, well, I'll say it. It's been a laugher.
Yeah, it really has been. When we're, the stories we're getting into, we're digging deep into the bag.
I mean, I'm going into my broadcasting career, which, spans yay big.
Yeah. It was the never-ending inning for the Panthers, and they weren't helping themselves either.
Should I tell my Frank Mahovlich story?
I think you should.
Okay, so this, I think I may have told it on the broadcast here before, but this is another one of those starstruck moments so as everybody knows, I grew up in Timmins, Ontario, home of pretty much every original 6 player in the National Hockey League, including Frank Mahovlich. Hometown hockey comes to town in Timmins back in 2016, this was the year that the Toronto Maple Leafs were taking their banners of all the retired players, because this is just after they decided to not have, honored numbers, but retired numbers. So they're bringing all the old Air Canada Centre banners to all the hometowns to honor a lot of these players from where they're from. Timmins, Ontario, they got Frank Mahovlich. They got Bill Barilko as well. So they did a dual ceremony live on television at that point in time.
Awesome.
Second intermission comes. They do the unveiling in front of the McIntyre Arena. I'm there, and it's a great presentation and everything like that. And I'm working as a reporter at that point in time. I'm like, okay, I need to get some clips. Where's Frank at? Tells me he's in the basement. In the basement of this arena, there's no reception whatsoever. It used to be a curling rink down there. And it's more of just a lounge area. The runner's going to go, and that's just going to be defensive indifference. As the runner
Why'd
advances.
he go back?
Thrower's going to go, and Yosuke Fuji is going to get tagged out. Why did he go?
There must have been some confusion thinking it was a foul ball, because he kind of started just sauntering his way back to first base before.
I'm gonna go to the replay here on my phone here.
He was already on the bag, safe, and then turned around and
then goes straight back over to first, and they catch him in kind of a rundown, and that's the first out of the inning.
I guess he just wants this one over with.
So Anthony Porcelato is the pitcher now here for the Welland Jackfish. Yosuke Fuji got on base with a walk. As I was getting into my Frank story, Fuji walked and now gets caught stealing. The 0-2, swing and a miss for strike 3.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that before in my life, and it'll be interesting. Is that a stolen base? Because he stepped on the bag, or because he went back, it's now caught stealing?
They're counting it as a 2-6-3 caught stealing.
All right.
So anyway, no reception whatsoever. I get down there. There's already a couple of reporters talking with Frank. We get into a scrum, and we do an hour scrum with him. And he's just telling stories. I think between the 3 reporters, including myself, I think we asked two or three questions. Frank can talk. I'll tell you that much. And he was telling all the old war stories of, a lot of his time in the National Hockey League. I mean, you win 6 Stanley Cups. You got stories.
Oh, yeah.
4 of them with the Maple Leafs as part of that 60s run. Won a couple with the Habs later on. The one upstairs, talked about one of the best goals that he ever scored in his life. Talked about how he would go down to the rink during the off season while he was still a kid and would see Les Costello and Bill Barilko warming up and just getting getting in ice time, in between the two seasons, and I think this was after the Leafs won the Cup in 1948. My phone's blowing up, meantime. I don't know it because I don't have any reception whatsoever. Apparently, at this point in time, while we're doing the scrum with Frank Mahovlich, Ron McLean name drops me on television as a thank you at the end of the night just for some of the work that I was doing during the weekend. I don't say that as a humble brag at all, as there's a walk going to be issued here to Yasvani Penalve. So I get upstairs, and again, this is after collecting an hour's worth of tape with Frank Mahovlich that I got to cut through the next morning for radio to air on the morning show. And I get upstairs, my phone's going off. Okay, send me the clip. Sure enough, he did. Like, okay, that's awesome. Ron's a great guy. He was kind enough to do that. Turn to my right, and maybe 5 feet away from me, the two nephews of Bill Barilko. And we all know his story. Scored in 51, last goal he ever scored, won the Leafs the Cup, the tragically hip, immortalizing that goal in their song 50 Mission Cap. Have a word with them. Great couple of guys, the Klisniches, and we started talking. I started talking about my family history as well, which runs deep in that community. There's a strike 2 on Ayada and Sorry. We take some numbers and, take a picture at the end of the day. And that was honestly one of the best nights that I can recall in my broadcast career and just in journalism in general. Is you never know, where things are going to turn. Because I was not expecting that night to turn the way that it did. To have an hour conversation in a group with, one of the best hockey players of his generation, and then, immediately run into the family of, a legend of the city that I grew up in. That's a strike 3. And we're going to head to the 9th. Welland, well on their way to another win to make it 4 in a row. We'll be back after this. Don't go anywhere. This is Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up. I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up.
Welcome back to Panthers TV, brought to you by our friends at Rogers. Mark Pare, Justin Holmes here. Top of the 9th, top of the evening to you all here on a Thursday night under the lights at Jack Couch Park. Welland at 21, Kitchener 2. And, I started talking about, some of the hockey heroes that I got to see growing up a couple of years back, as that one is off the bat of Gom over to first in time. Really brings another question to the forefront to continue on with the chat here, as we have a little bit more time to go, at least 5 more outs to record. Doesn't have to be random, but perhaps most memorable. Celebrity encounters. Doesn't have to be in sports, could be movie star, TV star, you name it. I'll send it to the chat, but I'll ask you, Justin.
Yeah, I had a pretty cool one back when I was working for the Peterborough Petes, and I got to do the interviews with the coaches before the games, the away coaches, and so the one day it was Dale Howardchuk. And so I'm doing the interview with him, and he's a really great guy. And it was Ryan Suzuki that was on his team at the time, but Nick Suzuki was playing extremely well and doing his thing.
Well, Storm OHL champion.
Yep. So I accidentally call him. I called Ryan Nick in the interview, and Dale was such a good guy about it. And then just talked with me after, just off camera, and just gave me some advice. And that was a really, really cool moment to get to hear from such a legend.
Where's number 10? We think about him every day. The 2-1 missing outside. This is Jonah Weisner. Tyson Gom was put out on the 4-3. Jonah Weisner up for his 7th at-bat of the evening.
That's it?
That's it. 3 hits, 4 RBI. Robert Mullen leading the way with 5 ribeyes on the day. Ooh, I can use a good steak right now. Weisner will advance on the walk with 1 away here in the 9th. But okay, Dale Howardchuk, I like that. Fans in the chat, what do you got for us? Someone saying my name here in the booth. I'm no celebrity. That's a strike. Although I will tell you, if you consider me a celebrity, I'm flattered. Tanya getting in on the chat. Got to meet Cujo. Hayden Christensen. That one's put in play. Brendan Luther with a base hit.
Continues his strong day.
Hayden Christensen, Peter Outerbridge, Russell Peters, some Toys R Us stores, some events. PK Subban's mother in there as well. All right. I like that. I like that. Keep them coming, guys. It's Mateo Portolato steps in. Mateo 2 for 6 on the Knights. Watches that one go across for strike 1. I think they actually got a couple of the guys from the I was going to say original trilogy, but are you kidding me? Hayden Christensen is part of the middle trilogy, if you will, in that the 90s. But that's another conversation for another day. What's the better trilogy for Star Wars? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. But I believe some of them are actually going to be at Fan Expo in Toronto this summer.
Nice. So I seem to have a knack for running into people in public, and I don't know if it's because of my fantasy sports my fantasy sports obsession that I know all these guys' headshots.
You ran into Matthew Berry, didn't you?
No, it was I was going to the Shane Gillis comedy show, and
that one's put in play, and that's going to drop. Goes against the fence. 21, that's going to turn into 22, circling around the bag and into home. Weisner slides into Ansari, but he gets in there safely to make it 22-2. An RBI double. They're going to count it as a single for Mateo Portolato. And Tanya, thank you so much. Original trilogy over all other trilogies for Star Wars. New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. Like Return of the Jedi, are you kidding me? All due respect to those who grew up with the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, yes. They don't come close. The garbage compactor scene in A New Hope, are you kidding me? Luke, I am your father. That one upstairs.
Boy. Hey, way up now. Let's go.
To pick up where I left off, there, before the season, I ran into Max Pacioretty and Easton Cowan just walking across the street downtown, and then I turned and I was kind of surprised. I just went, Max, when I saw Pacioretty, and he looked at me like I was absolutely nuts.
So it's funny. Very early on in my career, I got to interview Connor McDavid. He was still 16 years old at the time. He was playing for the Erie Otters. There's a strikeout on Marchese. 2 away. And I remember starting off the interview, and I think Connor had that kind of stare out into the world. Like, it's a couple of hours before game time. I know he's trying to get prepared, and he's he's still young. He's still 16 years old at the time. And I remember trying to get it, like, okay, hey, Connor, kind of thing. But I think my voice may have taken an octave up that I felt like I was screaming at him. And I could tell immediately because he looked like it was kind of that quick startle. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I'm 2 feet in front of you. Apologized, did the whole spiel, did the bit, did the interview, made a great story out of it at the end of the day. But I still remember that to this day, very on in my journalism career, where I got to interview McDavid and felt like I screamed at him the first interaction I had with him.
That's awesome. I ran into him in a hotel in Sarnia when he was playing the Sting in a playoff game.
Sanford puts that one into play. Another base hit. They're going to try again to score a run. Yes, they will. 23-2 Jackfish. And at this point, they're just piling it on.
It's no mercy, and they are certainly piling it on. 23 runs. I'm not sure I've ever seen a team put up 23 before in my life. You know, talking about Connor McDavid in Edmonton, Toronto native Jake Wallman just scored to put them up 4-3.
Yes, they did. Good to see that series could be deadlocked at 2 by night's end, or it could be a series stranglehold for the Florida Panthers, who are looking for back-to-back cups. So another 2 runs have come across in this inning for the Welland Jackfish, who, again, don't care that they are up as many as they are. You know, some might say, oh, you know, why are you just running up the score at this point? Why are you just doing this, doing that? As a New England Patriots fan that grew up in the Brady era, thinking of that 07 season where they absolutely clobbered teams like the Tennessee Titans back in the day, that's a swing and a miss for strike 2. You know, the alternate side of it is that is strike number 3, and that'll get off the field, it looks like. It's the habits that you don't want to let go of. That's going to be the counter argument to that conversation where you look at the score line as it is and they're still putting runs on the board.
Yeah, you don't want to get complacent because then those bad habits could leak into other games. If you just start leaving the bat on your shoulder, you want to keep swinging. And these guys, they also, it might be kind of stat padding, but you want to have good numbers yourself. These are guys that are trying to make a name for themselves in this league, and you don't want to just give up. You want to keep on going and show your coach, show the fans, show other teams, show other leagues what you have.
Getting ready for the bottom of the 9th here at Jack Couch Park. For those that have stuck around here tonight, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on the air a week from tonight. The Hamilton Cardinals will be in town for a 7:30 first pitch, but the Panthers will be on the road this weekend again in London on Friday, into Brantford on Sunday afternoon.
Be a couple good tests for them, see if they can bounce back from this one. Hopefully just completely erase this one from your memory. I don't even think you want to watch film or anything from it. You just want to get this one over with.
This is the one where you're going to download the live broadcast of this, and you're just going to take it, wipe it, throw it into the ballpark, wipe it from your memory, and just start again.
Yeah, and bury the tape out
There's
back.
There's nothing more to say about that. This has been a wash and a half.
Yeah, exactly. And I can confirm not a save situation.
No. It's a long way from a save. Pretty long way from a save, to say the very least. Scott Gillespie will come in to close things out here for the Welland Jackfish. And again, the Welland Jackfish just... I'll say it again. I think they took that wager from Braden Farrington and said, hold my drink, let's go.
Yeah.
I want him to wear that Welland Jackfish floral jersey on next week's episode of the IBL Inside Pitch, which again, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Every week, myself, Neil, and Braden take you through the Intercounty Baseball League, the highs and lows. As the Welland Jackfish, as Tanya has put it, executing Order 66 here on a Thursday night. Again, the Jackfish putting up 10 on Guelph, 15 on Hamilton. They've put 21 on the board here. 23, I should say. 23 on the board now. And it's too late in the night for me to do math to add up what we've been seeing here. All I'll say is that the score differential is going to reach triple digits by the end of the weekend with the way they've been blown. Arthur Kawara is on deck here for the Kitchener Panthers. And for the Welland Jackfish, thankfully for them, at least I would imagine internally, that they actually get to have a night off. Although, why would you want to have a night off with the way you've been going on offense in the last 3 days?
Yeah, I think they wouldn't mind showing up to the ballpark and putting up a 20 spot every night.
It's not going to happen every night, but again, the last number of games, it's just been laugher after laugher for this team. And showcasing they want that championship here in 2025. 2-1 count here on Charlie Towers. Takes one well inside. 2-1 count. Jackfish off tomorrow. They go into Barrie on Saturday for a 4:05 first pitch. And then Sunday afternoon, hosting the Guelph Royals at Welland Stadium. And thank you, Neil, for doing the math for me. It's the reason why I took journalism and not mathematics and accounting. Walk issued to Charlie Towers, and Arthur Kawara comes in. Outscoring the opposition 58-10 in the last 3 games. A run differential of 48 in the last 3 games alone.
Yeah, that is some impressive stuff. They've really brought it in all aspects of the game, because it's not only are they scoring so many runs, they're barely letting the other team score any.
And sorry, Neil, for making you do math homework at almost 11 o'clock at night. I'll hand out the homework assignment on our next episode next week. And maybe I'll buy you a drink. Chopper in the infield. They'll get it over to second. No, he drops it. So count that as an E4. And Arthur Kawara gets on. 1 away and runners at first and second.
And those 58 runs that they've scored is more than 3 teams in the league have scored all season.
At this point, all you can do is just laugh. There's strike number 1. As that is indeed A.J. Carosis. So Arthur Kawara reaching on the fielder's choice. Charlie Towers got the walk and reached second base on the error. Count that as an E4 on the drop ball. Well outside. Scott Gillespie in this ball game, the 5th pitcher of the evening here for the Welland Jackfish. Holds off, but it goes across anyway for a strike. as we continue to get settled in. And thank you all for your feedback here tonight. You guys have been awesome, giving us some content to talk about. We've been able to delve into celebrity encounters, great broadcast moments, long dingers. There's a strike, and that'll be the first out of the second out of the inning. It is the first out.
Left fielder number 21, Wander Santana.
Got to get into Star Wars, pasta sauce.
We really touched all aspects of life.
Oh, so much. I mean, got to give life advice. Someone saying lacking the Blink-182 references, though. Got enough of them into one broadcast a year ago. I'll tell you that much. Wander Santana, the batter. One away here in the bottom of the ninth.
This conversation's kind of been like a first date.
It really has. Well, let me tell you, in the car, I just can't wait to get to the car. Got a Friday off. There's a swing and a miss for strike number 2. Got the busy weekend coming up as well. We'll have actually a relatively light weekend compared to what I have seen lately. I had a couple of stretches where I was doing 4 games in 4 days in 3 different ballparks in this league. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Panthers down to their final out.
That is quite the grind.
Now this weekend it's just light, just the game Saturday afternoon. Guelph hosting Brantford, so I'll have the call on that one. And then, yeah, Six Nations lacrosse on Tuesday, back here next Thursday. Got a game next Saturday on the 21st, and I'm trying to move as well in the midst of all of this.
Where do you find the time?
Yeah, it's, let me tell you, that one's hopped, and we are through at 11:02 Eastern. A 23-2 final as the Welland Jackfish. What superlatives have I not said at this point? They have decimated and dominated the Kitchener Panthers on this Thursday night.
That was just about as good of a performance as you're going to get on offense, obviously. 23 runs, and then Ortega with an excellent game. And it was just all over a dominant win by the Jackfish, showing why they are the best team in this league. And that run differential, it's going to be something astounding after this one.
Once again, the final score 23-2 in favor of the Welland Jackfish. We're going to throw to a quick 30-second break. When we come back, we'll do our quick post-game. Lots to talk about, but not so much for the home side here this evening. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hard line drive up the middle. Whoa! Lindor out of nowhere. How did he do that?
That Lindor can play. I don't know about that hair. And don't get me started on those gloves.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
It's time for a revolution. The Ref 1X by Rollins.
We have to bring a kid home with us.
Well, there you have it. The final score, 23-2 in favor of the Welland Jackfish, as we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth here. Mark Pare, Justin Holmes, Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers. And 13 runs. Unlucky for the Kitchener Panthers. And the Welland Jackfish, 11-1. This is a team that is in very serious contention and saying we're trying to make a statement here. We're trying to win a championship this year. And what more can be said on what hasn't been said here so far tonight?
Yeah, exactly. An perfect 8-0 on the road this season. Mullen adds to his MVP case. It was a dominant all-around performance. Ortega with 10 strikeouts. There really wasn't a weakness to their game today. We said going in that it was a huge test for the Panthers, and they kind of failed that test. They ran into the best team in the league. They showed why they're the best team in the league, and now for the Panthers, it's just going to be about putting that in their past.
Well, you go back to that fourth inning, 13 runs come across, 18 batters come to the dish. The Welland Jackfish, 5 home runs on the evening, and let me tell you, it's a hitter-friendly ballpark, so you might get a couple of Yankee Stadium type of gimmies. These 5 home runs were not gimmies.
No, there was no wall scrapers. They were all hit a mile and a half, like some big bat flips. There was no doubters all over the place. The Kitchener Panthers pitching staff kind of struggled to find the strike zone a bit too, and then that put some extra guys on the base paths, and that let these big bats come up to the plate a little bit more often. And when they did get that big hit, it was a couple extra runs because of some errors and some walks.
And I'm glad you mentioned some of the defensive side of things with pitching in general. Obviously, Andy Vargas getting the start, gets tagged with the loss, 3 1/3 innings pitched, gets hit for 10 runs, all of them earned, 10 hits, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts. Brett Reed didn't fare too well either, coming in relief, going 3 2/3. The other side, though, just 3 hits for the Kitchener Panthers all night long. 3 hits, all of them off of Teodoro Ortega, who was otherwise magnificent in this one in 5 innings of work.
Yeah, he was unbelievable, and the Panthers just couldn't figure him out or anyone else out after that. It's hard for him to have to sit in the dugout for that long while they put up that crooked number. That was a long, long inning. So, he's obviously gets a little bit cold, and it was those following innings where they did some of that damage on him, and I say damage in a very light way, but it was just the Panthers just got to completely forget about this one.
Yeah, this is one you just put in the back of your brain and forget about, especially with a couple of big games coming up against the London Majors Friday night in London at Labatt Park, and then into Arnold Anderson Stadium in Brantford for I believe it's a 2 o'clock first pitch against the Brantford Red Sox down the highway south of Cambridge. Teodoro Ortega gets the win, 10 strikeouts on the evening. Andy Vargas gets the loss. Once again, the final score here from Jack Couch Park. Nothing more to talk about at this point because the game played out the way it played out. We got to talk about a lot of different things on this broadcast here tonight. We got to dig into life lessons, stories from the road. That's the kind of game it was, with a final score of 23-2. The Welland Jackfish win their 4th in a row and improve to 11-1 on the year. The Kitchener Panthers drop to 5-6. Next home game for the Kitchener Panthers comes up in 7 days from now. The Hamilton Cardinals are in town for a 7:30 first pitch. For Justin, for everybody putting us on the air tonight on Panthers TV, brought to you by Rogers, my name is Mark Pare. Thank you for joining us on this program. We will see you back here in this booth next Thursday night. Until then, have a good weekend, everybody, and follow everybody else in the IBL, and you can catch all the latest Panthers action on their respective YouTube pages. Good night, everybody.